This
audible?
conference will
Yeah.
now be recorded.
So, can we start with our introduction? Yeah, let me introduce myself first. Yeah, myself, Naren, have around 10 plus years of experience into IT. So, out of which I worked as a SAP FI consultant, and I worked as Celonis consultant, and then I've been working as a Signavio consultant from the last around 3 years. Okay, so I trained on SAP FICO, and I've been giving trainings on Signavio. So far I trained over 50 plus participants on Signavio, and I trained over 200 plus participants on SAP FI. So I'm a certified Signavio consultant. I'm certified Celonis, and I'm certified in SAP FI, and I'm certified SAP Build. So this is all about my experience, and you know, can you please start introduce yourself, any one of you?
Hey, good morning. My name is Jaideep, and I do work as an SAP consultant in India. So I do have 10 plus
Oh,
years of experience over there here.
oh, okay, okay, good to know. So
Yeah.
can you know, why do you want to learn Signavio?
So I'm keen to learn Signavio just for the reason that going further, I want to know that what are the elements of Signavio. Plus, we all know that AI is getting integrated with SAP very tightly nowadays. So we are just
Yeah.
exploring like how we can get it for better in this field.
Oh, good to know that. Yeah. So hope you will get that clarity by end of this demo. Yeah. Thank you,
Yes,
David. Thank
thank you.
you for your. Yeah. So next, uh, any one of you, Mahesh, Senthil, Vamshi.
Yeah, hi, this is Mahesh. I work with I'm a MM consultant. Like, almost I have 20 years experience. Currently, I'm working with Jaideep Element, and
Okay.
yeah, I was just like want to know how this Signavio like can help like job skills.
Okay.
How I can use it in
Okay.
what are the current rate I'm working on this.
Okay. Okay. Good to know that. Hi, Mahesh. So, Senthil or Vamshi, what?
Yeah,
It
hi.
is good, Sandeep.
Yeah, hi Naveen. So myself Sendil. I am SAP BPQM consultant, 15 years of experience,
Okay.
and I'm looking for the demo session for the Signavio to upgrade myself for the process oriented things. So that's the
Okay.
reason.
Okay. Good to know that, Senthil. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Hi,
yes,
this
Vamshi.
is Vamsi. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
12 plus years of experience, some P2P, and then mostly in the order to cash space.
Okay.
Recently, our team is trying to look into say either Celonis or Signavio implementation in the next year. So, trying
Mm.
to learn some things to be ready for that.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Good to know about you. Yeah. So, I think Umar Taj. Can you hear us, Umar Taj? Okay. Fine. Let's get started. I think still getting connected. Yeah. Fine. So, uh, thank you for your introductions, and good to know all about you. Uh, yeah, let's get started. Yeah. So, as part of today's demo, the agenda would be to know more about the training curriculum. So, what are the topics going to be covered as part of our training, and what you're going to learn out of it? Okay. So, how I'm going to teach you the concepts of Signavio and the processes, especially, and I'm going to explain you the what is Signavio transformation suite, and what are the components or what are the solutions offered by Signavio, and what each and every solution does. Okay, what is the importance of each and every solution of Signavio. How can the business leverage those capabilities? Okay, I'm going to explain them, and I'm going to show you the Signavio tool, how the tool looks like, and how the dashboard looks like, and then the Q&A session will be enabled. So you need not to wait till end of the demo. If you have something, you can raise your hand, or you can ask me then and there. So since I'm presenting, I may not be able to see your hands raised. You can unmute yourself and you can ask me. Okay. Fine. The objective of this course is the participant, or the people whoever joins this course will be able to implement the real time oriented scenarios. Okay, like once you are able to attend this course, you'll be able to write the code on your own, and you'll be able to understand the business processes, and you'll be able to be ready with or ready, market ready, with strong understanding of business processes as well as the technical expertise. So when I'm talking about the business process and the technical expertise, that I'm going to explain you, and by taking an example of procure to pay. Okay, I'm going to explain you the detailed steps of procure to pay and how to understand them. What are the problem statements which we might face, or which every business might face during the procure to pay process. Okay, how to understand them. Okay, so we may call it as KPIs or use cases. Okay, so how to understand them, how to understand the business process, and how the data gets stored in SAP at table level, or at field level. And then, using this understanding, we'll be able to write the code in Signavio. So I'm going to explain you the step by step as part of our training. And also this course helps you to be ready with certification exam. So once you attend this this course, you'll be able to appear for the SAP certification exam. When we talk about the certification, there are two certifications available for Signavio. One is for process data analyst, which purely focuses on the process insights, process intelligence, and plug and gain approach as part of Signavio transformation suite. So, as part of Signavio transformation suite, we have a couple of components or solutions offered by Signavio, such as process insights, process intelligence, process manager, journey modeler, process governance, process collaboration hub. So, out of all these solutions, process data analyst certification purely focuses on process insights, process intelligence, and the plug and gain approach. Okay, so these are the focused areas as part of process data analyst. Whereas the second certification is business process consultant. As part of this business process consultant, the purely it purely focuses on the process manager, journey modeler, process governance, and collaboration hub. This course will help you to appear for the certification exam. I'm also going to share some couple of exams. A couple of exam questions. Okay, so model questions. How the questions will be as part of certification exam, and based on that, you can start preparing for exams. Okay, so this is all about Signavio certification. Coming to our training curriculum, which I'm going to explain as part of our training. So first, I'm going to give you the introduction of process mining, because as part of Signavio transformation suite, process mining is core component or key solution, or core crux of Signavio. So basic uses of every organization is to mine their processes, is to understand their processes, or is to visualize their as is process, and to identify the bottlenecks in their process. So as part of that, what is this process mining, and how this process mining technique got evolved over the period of time, who introduced it. Okay, so to how it started and where it is now. Okay, so all those the introduction of process mining, I'm going to explain, and then some of you might be from SAP, some of you might not be from SAP. So I'll just give an overview of SAP, how what is the architecture of SAP, and what is the data, what are the different types of data, like configuration data, master data, transactional data stored in SAP, how to understand them. So I'll just give an example, or I'll just explain the overview of SAP, and then uh, I'll explain the manufacturing process, or generally how the manufacturing industry works. So basically, any business runs on the different business processes, right? So combination of various business processes will lead to the success of any business. So, as part of the manufacturing industry, what are the different business processes are involved, and how each and every business process is related to the other business process. So, uh, one issue in one process can impact the other business process, right? So how it impacts the other business process. So why all the business process should be interrelated or communicated each other. So I'm going to explain you as part of this manufacturing process overview, and out of all these business processes, I'll take a business case study for procure to pay process. Okay, where I'll explain the detailed activities list of this procure to pay process, and what are the different activities involved in this procure to pay process, and by taking an example of SAP system, how these activities are posted in SAP, and in which tables the data gets stored, the each and every activity data gets stored, and by mining this process, what business is going to get. So I mean, what kind of pain points can be identified by the business. So we may call it as KPIs, critical KPIs, right? So what kind of critical KPIs to be measured as part of this procure to pay process, which can help the organizations to understand their pain points as part of procurement process. So then how the business can realize their value using procurement process mining. Okay, then we have a solution called the process insights. I'm going to show you the tool, how the process insights tool look like, because the tool does not offer as part of free trial access and all. So I'm going to show you how the process insights tool look like, and where the technical expertise is not required. Okay, so we just have to understand the data out of process insights. So by connecting your source system to Signavio process insights itself can start capturing the data, and can start calculating the performance indicators, and it can start identifying the bottlenecks, and it provides the recommendations. So how to understand them? So I'm going to explain them, and then we will jump into the process intelligence. Okay, where we need the expertise of signal code. Signal stands for Signavio analytics language. Okay, which is similar to SQL. Okay, so basics of SQL, I mean basic syntax of SQL can be helpful for us. Okay, we don't need deep expertise into SQL, because if you look at me, I may become graduate, I'm nowhere related to any technical background. Okay, so I'm going to explain you in such a way that how to remember these syntaxes, okay, from the scratch. And then once you have that confidence, once you get that hands-on experience, I mean once you get that confidence on various syntaxes of SQL or Signal, then I'm going to provide you the platform where you can practice the SQL syntaxes. Okay, then Once you are ready with the understanding of the syntaxes, then we will jump into the process intelligence. There we will look into various components, like how to use the standard accelerators if there is no accelerator is available, how to create the accelerator, or how to create the data pipeline from the scratch, and where how to write the transformation code using the signal code from the scratch. Okay. Then once you are ready, then how to perform the extractions, transformations, load jobs, and then how to build the dashboard, front end dashboard, where you create your KPIs, or where you visualize your as is process, and where you can understand, or where you can create the widgets to understand your bottlenecks in your process. So I'm going to explain you step by step as part of our training. So coming to the process modeling, as part of this process intelligence, I'm going to write, or I'm going to define one event collector from my end. Then I'm going to share the screen and give the remote control access to you, each one of you, and you people will write the transformation code. Okay. So then you get that confidence that I can write the code, signal code, transformation code, to define an event collector. Okay. So still, if you don't get any confidence, still you can ask me, so that I can give you the remote control access. Still you can access my screen, and you can start exploring the process intelligence tool, how to write the code and how to build the dashboard and all. Okay. Coming to the process, the next topic, which is process modeling. So once we define, or once we visualize the as is process using process intelligence, which is the process mining solution, process modeling is part of process manager, Signavio process manager. This process modeling is nothing but the process flow diagram creation. Okay. So to create a process flow diagram, we need to understand the notations of BPMN. BPMN stands for Business Process Model and Notation. So what are the different rules and regulations framed to create a process flow diagram? So there is a language defined to create a process model diagram. The language is nothing but the BPMN. So as part of this BPMN, we need to understand couple of elements of this BPMN, such as gateways, activity, pools, lanes, sequence flow, message flow, how to understand these elements. Okay, how to understand the intermediate events. So by knowing these elements itself, you'll be able to create a process model diagram from the scratch. So I'm going to explain you these topics, these elements, by taking an example by for each and every element type. Okay. So for gateway, to understand that gateway, I'm going to show you examples. Okay. So that you will be able to understand what each and every element does, and you can remember easily that while creating a process model diagram, in which scenarios this respect to element type to be used. Okay. So this will help you to create a process model diagram. Then we'll look into the process manager. As I mentioned, process manager is the place where you can create the diagrams. As part of that, BPMN is one of them. So you once you create the BPMN diagram, how to leverage the capabilities of process manager. Okay. What are the different options available in process manager, like import, export, reporting features, simulation, compare diagrams. So we have a couple of advantages, or a couple of capabilities offered by process manager. So how to leverage them. And also I'm going you can restrict the accesses in the user management section, how to create the user for Signavio, and how do you restrict the user accesses for each and every solution, even for folder level or for process level. So how to restrict them. Okay. I'm going to explain them. And then we have one more solution as part of Signavio transformation suite is collaboration hub. Okay, so what is the collaboration hub? What are the advantages of collaboration hub? I'm going to explain you. Okay, so this is our training. So any questions so far? Any doubts?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Uh, as I mentioned, I am looking for some oversight into the OTC process. Would you be able to cover at least some part of order to cash process overview in with Signavio?
Um. Yeah. You just remind me whenever we are going to discuss about procure to pay process. I'll show you. Okay.
Yeah. And
The
then
code. Yeah.
one other question. Between Celanese and Signavio, currently, what is your take on the market share and how are these tools doing in the market?
Mm, when it comes to market share, Celonis is still giant. Okay, but the thing is, when there is a choice for the client to select Celonis and Signavio, between Celonis and Signavio, that purely depends on the client's requirement. Okay, so Celonis only offers the process mining capabilities. Okay, so
Okay.
where you can just mine your process and deep dive your analysis like anything. Whereas when it comes to Signavio is a transformation suite. It does not only offer process mining. Along with the process mining, it also offers the documentation of your process. That is what I mentioned, process modeling diagram, right? With very powerful tool which can be used to uh, document your process, like how your process looks like, and how each and every activity is posted, using which ID system your activity is posted. All those things can be documented. I'm going to show you in the tool. Okay, so the this is a transformation. So once you create the process model diagram of whatever you identify using process mining, that can be integrated with process modeling. And also, if there is a solution called process governance, which will help you to control your process changes. Okay, so whenever some changes arise for your process, that should not be changed, right? So that should be controlled. Unless you control your process changes, the your process will not be able to, you will not be able to understand your process properly. So this is a transformation suit. And coming to the cost, so compared to Signavio, Celonis is very high cost. So offering the similar kind of solution, but it is costing very high. And it only offers pure process mining. When it comes to the Signavio, it is a transformation suit. That depends on the client. Okay, so their requirement and their budget, based on that we can suggest. Both are capable tools. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me, yeah, uh, coming to the background of Signavio. What is Signavio, and who incorporated the Signavio tool, and how it got evolved, and all those things. Yeah, so Signavio was founded in 2009, based out of Berlin. Earlier, the Signavio tool used to be a business process management software. Okay, that means using Signavio, the organizations used to create their process model diagrams, okay, and document their processes. That's it. It did not offer any process mining solutions and all. Okay. Later on, in 20,
Naren,
yes,
I am getting an echo of your voice. So it is only me or everybody is getting the echo?
is this for everyone?
Double voice. I'm listening to the double voice.
No, I'm hearing okay.
Okay,
So for
maybe
me it
maybe.
is okay.
I think you have joined through two devices. I mean, in both the devices, you might have switched on your speakers,
Yeah,
if I'm not
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. Actually, it is now and then getting disconnected. That's the reason. Yes, you are right. I was connected from two devices.
Okay, okay, fine.
So,
Yeah. If anyone is not able to hear my voice, yes, please, let me know. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So after Signavio, whenever Signavio used to offer this BPM software, in 2021, SAP acquired Signavio. The reason for this acquisition is uh, SAP started their migration projects from ECC to S4, right? So at that point of time, to make the migration journey simpler or smoother, okay, or efficient, or to reduce the migration journey, so they SAP thought to have a tool or a technique called business process management, along with the process mining, to identify their as is process. So as part of that, SAP acquired the Signavio. Okay, so as I mentioned, at that point of time, Signavio used to offer only BPM software or BPM capabilities, not the process mining. So later on, SAP invested lot of amount and made R&D and put lot of efforts on Signavio to reshape this Signavio as how the Signavio can be leveraged in the transformation. Okay, process transformation or digital transformation. So as part of that, they SAP thought to have process mining as well as process manager and the process governance and the process collaboration hub as part of this Signavio transformation suite, which can help the organizations to identify their as is process using process mining, and to document their process using process manager, and to map their processes as is process with the to be process model. So as part of this fit to standard workshop, and then to manage or to changes, I mean to control the process changes, will have the process governance. So this is how the Signavio has been reframed or restructured. Okay, so as part of that, these are the solutions, as I mentioned. These are the solutions or components of Signavio transformation. So one is process insights, second one is process intelligence, third one is process manager, fourth one is journey modeler, fifth one is process governance. Okay, so these are the solution. Process collaboration hub is one of them. Again, sorry, I forgot to mention here. Yeah, so these are the solutions offered by Signavio. So if let's try to understand little bit deeper of the Signavio transformation suite. This is the Signavio transformation suite wheel. Okay, how the what are the different tools or solutions as part of the Signavio. Okay, so as part of the Signavio collaboration hub, process collaboration hub. Okay, so these are the solutions offered. So one of them is process insights. The process insights is not part of collaboration hub. Okay, however, whenever you procure the license from Signavio for process insights, you will get the separate URL for process insights. URL for process insights is different, and URL for collaboration hub, where you will have intelligence manager, journey modeler, governance, is different. These two URLs are different. Okay, the connection and everything is different for process insights and for process intelligence. Both are different. Okay, so process insights, what is the difference? Let's try to understand. Signavio process insights is a process mining solution. Okay, which is a plug and play solution. Okay, You just have to plug in your SAP system. Okay, it can only be integrated with SAP ecosystems. Okay, it cannot be able to integrate with non-SAP systems. Once you connect your SAP system with Process Insights, Process Insights tool itself will start extracting the data from your SAP system to Process Insights, and based on that extracted data, it will start calculating the performance indicators. That means it will start building the dashboard. As part of that dashboard, it will start calculating the performance indicators, and out of all those performance indicators, it identifies the blockers based on the industry benchmarks. If your KPI is calculated with some value, say for example automation rate for invoice creation would be around 20%, whereas your industry competitors are having that automation rate for invoice creation is at 70%, for example. You are at 20%, but your industry competitors on an average is at 70%. That means there is an improvement potential by 50%. That KPI can be improved by 50%. Automation rate can be improved by 50%, right? So to be able to improve that particular KPI by 50%, it also provides the recommendations. Okay. So there are correction recommendations and innovation recommendations offered by Process Insights. Okay. So we will get the recommendations. Here, Process Insights can give the insights, or can, can provide us the data, or can mine the processes, or can mine the data for 7 end-to-end processes, not more than that. You cannot customize the Process Insights at all. So you cannot mine other than these 7 processes. You cannot create your own KPIs. Okay. So those 7 end-to-end processes are source to pay, lead to cash, acquire to decommission, plan to fulfill, finance, idea to market. Okay. So these are the processes for which we will get the insights using Process Insights too. So, as I mentioned, there are a couple of limitations. So other than these 7 end-to-end processes, we cannot mine the other processes, and you cannot visualize the process. You cannot discover the process using Process Insights, and you cannot customize the customize your dashboards. Okay. So you have to use whatever the Process Insights tool provides you, and you can only extract the data of 3 to 4 months, not more than that, because it only offers the 50 GB space. So within that 50 GB limit, we have to play around. Okay. So one to be able to overcome all these limitations of Process Insights, there is, or this is just to get the insights into your processes. So by identifying the problems in using the Process Insights, you can deep dive your analysis. You can perform your root cause analysis using Process Intelligence, where you can be able to integrate all the systems in a single in a single Process Intelligence tool. You can integrate SAP systems, you can integrate non-SAP systems, so you can visualize your end-to-end process in a single dashboard. Okay. So this is to just to get the quick insights into your process, whereas the Process Intelligence is to perform the root cause analysis. Okay. So where you can integrate all your systems, and you can start mining the process like anything. You can even involve your customized data of your SAP system, where Process Insights does not capture the non I mean customized data, whereas Process Intelligence can capture the customized data, and it can be able to integrate with non-SAP systems, and you can build your dashboards. You can customize your dashboards. Okay, whatever the way you want. So this is Process Intelligence helps you to identify your as is process. Okay. And in your as is process, in your as is process related data, what are the bottlenecks you have in your process. Okay. So you can perform your root cause analysis, what's happening in your process. I'm going to show you in the tool, when I'm talking about the root cause analysis, how to perform that. The next solution is process manager. Using the process manager, okay, so process manager is the solution which helps the organizations to document their processes, and to use when we talk about the documentation, how to document it. So you can create an end-to-end process flow diagram, a process model diagram, and you can document like what are the different activities involved in your process, and which activity is being performed in which system. If that particular activity is performed in SAP system, using which transaction code that particular activity is posted, right? So who is responsible to execute that particular activity, or you can even link the documents which you might be stored, which you might have stored in your SharePoint. So you can link those detailed documentation in your process manager. So, you can even customize the attributes to maintain the documentation. Like, do you have any RISE objects involved for that particular activity, or is that activity fit or gap? Okay. So such kind of documentation, detailed documentation, even you can maintain the details like cost details of an activity, how much cost that particular activity consumes to post in your respective system. So how much duration it takes to post that particular activity. Okay. An user, on an average, how much time spends to post that particular activity in your source system. Such kind of detailed documentation can be maintained in your Signavio process manager. Not only the process model diagram, the process manager can also help the organizations to define the organization structure from level 1 to level 5, level 6, so on and so forth. Okay. So where you can drill down, where you can understand your organization structure, right? So what are the different departments involved in your organization, what are the different responsibilities of your respective department. So say for example, in your organization you have procurement department, sales department, production department, finance department, HR department. You might have different departments, right? So if you click on procurement department, it will be redirected to the level 2, where you can visualize what are the different responsibilities of your procurement department. Say for example, the procurement department might be responsible for direct procurement, indirect procurement. If you click on direct procurement, that will be redirected to the next diagram, which is level 3 diagram, where you can visualize how the direct procurement is executed in your process, in your organization. What are the steps involved in your direct procurement? Okay. And in your direct procurement, if you have a couple of activities involved, like purchase order creation, goods receipt, invoice, and all. Okay. If you click on purchase order, it will be redirected to the next level, level 4, where you can visualize the very granular level of execution, how your user is posting that particular purchase order creation. Okay. So to that extent, you can drill down your organization structure from level 1 to level 4 or level 5, or so on and so forth. Okay. So such kind of diagrams can be created. We call it as value chain diagrams in process manager. So, like that, we have Archimate, enterprise architecture diagrams, decision modeling notation diagrams, different types of diagrams available there. So, as part of that, when we talk about the processes, okay, to be able to document your process flow diagrams, the uh, BPMN is the business process model diagram, is the familiar for process model diagram creations. Okay. So that we are going to discuss as part of our training with detailed thing. So journey modeler is other solution as part of Signavio transformation suite, which helps the organizations to design the stakeholder journey. When we talk about, it is showing as customer journey, but it does not only create your customer journey, where you will be able to create your stakeholders journey map, like, when we talk about stakeholder, supplier is your stakeholder, customer is your stakeholder, employee is your stakeholder. For example, say for example, customer journey, how we are getting that lead, okay, and how many of them are converted to sales, and how you are able to deliver the goods, okay, what is the feedback you get from your customers, and at the time of billing, so what is the feedback you get from your customers, and invoice and the collection at each and every phase, what is the interactions, or uh, what we call sentiment, okay, you can analysis your customer sentiment in each and every phase based on the feedback you get, okay. So to be able to create this journey, there is a solution called journey modeler, okay. Then we have a process governance. Process governance is the solution which helps the organizations to control the process changes, okay, compliant to the organization's requirement, okay. Compliances. Say, for example, you have identified your as process using process intelligence, and you have documented that using process manager, okay. Some changes are happening to your as is process. For example, some activities are getting changed over the period of time after adapting some improvement solutions, or sometimes new activities might be added in terms of deviations in your process, like changes to some of your activities. Whenever that particular process to be changed or activity to be added or deleted, that needs to be approved by the respective process owner. Unless you manage your process controls, okay, again you cannot visualize your real time reliable processes, right? So to be able to manage those compliances, this process governance can be used, where you define your approval workflows for your you know uh, process models, okay. So whenever the process needs to be changed, or whenever the process to be created, the respective process owner needs to approve that particular process flow diagrams. So when it comes to process automation, the Signavio cannot automate any of your activities. However, as part of SAP's broader goal to achieve enterprise automation, as part of the enterprise automation, there are three tools involved. One is Signavio, which helps the organizations to identify the as is process and to identify the potential improvement areas or potential automation areas, for example. So once we identify that potential automation areas using Signavio, there is another tool called SAP Build, which is a RPA tool, robotic process automation tool, which helps the organizations to automate their processes, end-to-end processes. Nowadays every organization in this AI era, every organization's goal is to have process automation. As part of this process automation, SAP comes up with the enterprise automation, where Signavio helps them to identify the potential automation areas or improvement areas, and SAP Build helps them to automate their end-to-end processes, which is the RPA tool, robotic process automation tool, where you can build your RPA bots. If you have other licenses as well, like UiPath or Automation Anywhere kind of tools, you can use that. Signavio will be used to identify the potential improvement areas or potential automation areas, whereas other automation tools like UiPath, SAP Build, Automation Anywhere, these tools can be used to automate your process. And as part of SAP, we have to be able to automate your end-to-end process. that needs to be that needs to have the right back access, right? So if you're configuring, if you're developing some RPA bot, that bot needs to make changes in your SAP system, or that means that that bot needs to post that particular activity in your SAP system. Unless your bot post that activity in your SAP system, then we cannot automate it, right? So to be able to do that, there is an integration suite provided by SAP, where a couple of APIs are available, like SAP API, SAP related APIs, SAP systems related APIs, or non-SAP related APIs. To be able to connect with the respective SAP systems or non-SAP systems, it provides the APIs. So using which you can embed your RPA bot to make the necessary, write back actions to perform the actions in your source system. So this is the collaborative approach. Okay. And the next part would be collaboration hub. So as part of Signavio, collaboration hub is the place where you can involve all your stakeholders of your process. When we talk about the stakeholders of the process, especially if you are creating a process model diagram for procure to pay, okay, what are the different departments involved? Procurement department, warehouse department, accounts payable department involved, right, from the organization. Not only the various departments from the organization, but also the supplier, who is an external participant, is also responsible, or is also part of this procurement process, right? So you can even involve your external participant, in this case supplier, as part of your process model creation. And you can you can this makes, or this creates the comprehensive or reliable process model diagram by involving all your stakeholders while creating the process model diagram. So one thing is to create your process model diagram, reliable or comprehensive process model diagram, by involving all your stakeholders. It will also help you to take the necessary improvement decisions by involving all your stakeholders. So you can perform your debate in the collaboration hub, okay, where all the stakeholders, or whoever is part of this whoever is part of that particular process, they can comment on that process, where the business, where we need to make the changes to the process, which can help the organizations to improve that particular bottleneck, eliminate that particular bottleneck from your process, or improve the process. So such kind of collaboration can be done, or such kind of collaboration. Is this clear? Any questions? No. Okay, fine. So these are some benefits of process mining. Okay, I think yeah. So using Signavio, we'll be able to visualize the end-to-end business processes, and which will also help the businesses to reduce the cost by identifying the process inefficiencies. Okay, and it will help the organizations to speed up and streamline the business processes. Okay, which will help the organizations to reduce the cycle time of your business process, and to reduce the cost, and which will also help the businesses to improve the customer satisfaction. So if you can be able to deliver the goods on time to your customer, for example, okay, so customer will be satisfied, right? So your revenue will be improved, right? So it helps the organizations to identify the bottlenecks, and it which can help the organizations to take the necessary improvement actions, so which help the organizations to improve the customer satisfaction, and which leads to the revenue generation. So not only to identify your process, it also helps the organizations to monitor the process performance continuously. So by adopting the implement solution, that needs to be monitored, right? So that how your process is performing before adapting that solution, and how it is performing now after adapting the solution. Okay, so how your process is performing over the period of time, whether your process is streamlined or not. Okay, so it also helps to improve the compliance by detecting non-compliant processes or fraud, as I mentioned, to be able to control the process changes which are not non-compliant and all. So this process governance as part of Signavio tool can help to identify the non-compliant activities. So we will look into the tool. Okay, we'll jump into the tool. I'm going to show you the different solutions offered by Signavio.
Hi Naveen, there is a one question from my end. This is Umar Taj
Yeah,
here. Sorry,
yeah.
I had an issue to connecting from mic, etc.
Oh,
Uh,
no
s-
worries.
yeah, so this Signavio also helps us to define our roles and responsibility matrix,
Yes, that's symmetrics.
RSA matrix, right? It also helps
Yeah,
for end-to-end
yes,
process who is going to do what. And
exactly. Yeah.
as you told that this also capability to integrate with the multiple tools. So
Yes.
we can also have an BTP connectivity with Signavio, and maybe we also have an Ariba also can be connected to, right?
Signavio is also hosted on BTP.
Signavio also hosted on BTP. Okay.
Yes. So you can be able to integrate with Ariba, ECC, S4, EWM, Vim tools. Okay, so open text, for example, Vim tool, right, as part of SAP. So you
Okay.
can integrate with all these tools, and you can even for these you have the connector available already. Whereas for whatever the systems the connector is not available, there is a you can build your own API, and using that external API you will be able to integrate with your non-SAP systems as well. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And regarding your first question, it does not only help you to define your RASI metrics, responsible, who is responsible, accountable, consulted, informed in your process. Okay, it will also help you to define your risk and control mechanisms. So for every process we'll have different risks involved, right? So for
Yeah.
those risks, you can you can follow some control mechanisms, control parameters, right? So you can document. So whenever you document your process for one time, so you can document your process like anything. So as you mentioned, rasimetrics, and and also use response. I mean, yeah, you can define your end-to-end process along with this for each and every activity in your process. Okay, so what kind of risk is involved for that particular risk, what are the control measures to be followed. Okay, so you can document your entire end-to-end process, which will act as a single source of truth for the organization.
Yes, yes, yes,
But
yes. That all, yeah. So yeah, I'm also looking for single truth of organization.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
hope
Thank you,
it
Naveen.
answers.
It's clear with me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Thank you. Yes, Vamshi.
Yeah. Naren, you mentioned something about licenses. So did I hear it right that process insights needs a different license, and the overall collaboration hub is a different license?
Two things here. First thing is as part of rise with SAP. Okay, so for what whoever the clients procure this rise with SAP license will get the Signavio, entire Signavio, process insights, collaboration hub, intelligence manager, everything they'll get as part of this rise with SAP. Okay,
Okay.
this is one kind of license structure. The second would be if you want to procure separately, as you mentioned, cross insight separately, collaboration separately. As part of collaboration hub, also they can procure manager alone. They can procure intelligence alone. Okay, so they can procure governance alone. So depends on their requirement, they can procure their solution separately. Okay, so two ways. Got it?
Okay. One other question. Now, does I saw this at the beginning? You said it's Signavio Cloud. At the
Mhm.
back end, does it work with only SAP public cloud, or does it also work with on-prem private cloud? What all can it connect to?
No, it can connect with any SAP system. It can be ECC on-prem or S4 HANA on-prem or a private cloud, public cloud, Ariba, EWM. So it can connect with any system. So this is purely efficient in terms of connecting with your SAP ecosystems. Okay.
Got it.
Other
Okay.
than SAP, Process Insights will not be able to integrate with non-SAP systems, whereas Process Intelligence will be able to integrate with non-SAP systems. Okay,
Okay.
where the API needs to be built, and the the API will be external part. Okay, for some of the systems, the connectors are already available in Signavio, like success this Zero Software, Success Factors, okay, and Azure Data Lake, SQL, MongoDB, PostgreSQL. For some of the databases, the connectors are already available. For other systems, say for example Oracle, for Oracle we don't have connector. Okay, so for that you need to build your own API, and you need to you can be able to integrate with your Oracle system by establishing your own API. It will not stop you to integrate with any system. Only thing is the connector is not available. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So any further questions? So if not, we'll jump into the tool. So I'll try to wind up as soon as possible since it is weekend for you as well. Just give me a moment. Okay. Hope you can see my screen, right? Can you?
Yes, we can.
Can, yeah, yeah. So this is Signavio tool. Okay, how it looks like. So once you log into Signavio, you'll be landed into this page. From here, you can be navigated to here. So here, but you can see on the right hand side, 9 dots candy box. If you click on this, you can find various solutions of your Signavio. Okay, as I mentioned, as part of collaboration hub, you'll get the access for governance, intelligence manager. If you click on this intelligence, you'll be landed into this page. Okay, so this is your Signavio process intelligence. Here, these are the different processes which I have built and I have mined. Okay, as part of this, let me show you one process. I'll show you the procure to pay process. Okay, here for procure, I have mined the procure to pay process, and I have built the dashboards for procure to pay. Okay, so this is the dashboard for the procure to pay. For example, I'm taking one example here. Okay, yeah. So by mining your process, by by connecting your system and by extracting the data and by writing the transformation code to visualize your process. So this is your process. How your process looks like. We call it as process discovery. What happened? So your process looks like this. How many number of activities or how many number of transactions are there for each and every activity? How your process is flowing? If you increase more, uh, the complexity will be higher. How complex your process look like? If you see here, if I drag 100% of your transactions, your process is very complex. This your process looks like this. So there are a lot of deviations in your process. Okay, say for example, you have created PO. Okay, once the PO is created, there are a lot of changes happening. Okay, in terms of material got changed multiple times, quantity got changed multiple times. Okay, So how your process is flowing, which activity is coming first and which activity is coming later, right? So down payment request has been made. So all these, your process can be visualized like this. Okay, to be able to drill down your analysis. So this widget, one of the widgets of process intelligence is process discovery, can help you to visualize your end-to-end process as is process. Whereas to perform your drill down analysis, so you can create your own KPIs based on your data. Say for example, in this case, there are around 2,247 purchase orders. Okay, the purchase order value worth is this, and out of all these purchase orders and out of all this data, so the on-time delivery rate is 76%, whereas your target is to achieve 80%, but you are at 76%. So that is why it is highlighted in red color. So say for example, if you want to drill down your analysis for this particular on-time delivery date, okay, you can let me go into the analysis. Okay, here you can see late delivery rate is 23%, whereas your target is 5%. Okay, same opposite of on-time delivery, right? So why it is happening, for which suppliers this late delivery is happening? Late delivery means once you place an order for your goods using purchase order to your supplier. Okay, if supplier is not able to deliver the goods on time, when we talk about on time, how do you decide whether it is on time or late? In your agreement with your supplier, you might have agreed for, once you place an order to the supplier can be able to deliver the goods within the stipulated period of time, like 1 week or 10 days, whatever, right, based on your terms. So those, based on the agreed delivery date of your supplier, those are maintained in your supplier master data. Based on that supplier master data, the system will be able to calculate whether that particular purchase order is on time or late, out of which 23.61 percentage is your late delivery rate. Okay, here, to perform your root cause analysis or to drill down your analysis, for which suppliers the late deliveries are happening. So this is your top 10 suppliers. Okay, the first highest supplier is State University Hospital, for example. There are, for this supplier, the highest number of transactions have happened, which is 342 POs got posted. Out of this, the late delivery rate is 8.87, which is 9%, right? So which can be manageable, which is very, still it needs to be improved, but it needs to be reduced to 5%, but 9% is ignorable, right? As of now, if you look at the second highest number of transactions, the second highest number of transactions are happening for the supplier called Hubsite. For this supplier, 276 POs got posted, which is second highest number of POs. For this particular supplier, we are having late delivery rate as 84%. This is the area where business needs to focus, right? So then immediately business should take an action, or should negotiate with the respect to supplier and should take the action immediately. Why it is important? If you're not able to receive the goods from your supplier on time, you will not be able to produce the goods on time. You cannot manufacture the goods on time, you cannot make the finished goods on time. If you're not able to manufacture your finished goods on time, then you will not be able to deliver the goods to your customers on time. So there are direct and indirect impacts to other processes. It is impacting your production process. It is impacting your customer process as well, sales process as well. So it is impacting your revenue directly, which will lead to customer dissatisfaction. And also the direct cost would be, if you are not able to receive the goods, and if you're not able to produce the goods on time, your machinery idle time will be increased, right? So whether you have to pay to your labors and the machinery, and to you have to bear your overheads, right? So this is the major impact of your late deliveries from your supplier. So that is why business has to be more attentive in terms of late deliveries. Okay, so like this you can drill down your analysis. So we will see in detail going forward in our training session. Okay, so this is the dashboard looks like, and how we can perform your analysis. Then this is, the refined data comes into this dashboard, which is event log data. But how to get that? So there are connections. Okay, if you see here, connections. Here you can establish the connection with your systems for whatever the systems you want to connect. Okay, those connections can be established in the connections part. What happened? It's very slow. So here you can see, okay, various connection types available. Okay, so RFC connection is used to connect with your ECC S4 systems, Ariba systems and all. And you can connect with Serious View, Success Factor, ServiceNow, Zira, AWS Athena, AWS S3, BigQuery, Snowflake, Cloud Integration, DataSphere, Azure Data Lake, SAP HANA, MySQL. All these are some connectors available or provided by Signavio. Once you establish the connection, I will discuss in detail during our training, by taking an example of SAP, how to establish the connection for SAP and all. So I'll explain in detail step by step. Okay. So once you establish the connection, so source data is the place where you extract the data, and process data pipeline is the place where you write the transformation code. Okay. So for example, this is the transformation code. Okay, so this is the place where we transform the extracted raw data into event log data. This event log data will be used in the front end dashboard, whatever I've shown you in the dashboard. That analysis is performed based on the event log data. So that event log data is created or is defined in this place. This is, we call it as transformation code. Transformation code should be written to transform your raw data into event log data. So to be able to transform that raw data into event log data, we need to use signal code. Signal stands for Signavio analytics language. So which will be used to write this transformation code in the front end dashboard. Also, to create whatever the dashboard I've shown you, the KPIs and all, those KPIs can be created using signal code itself. I mean, in the process data pipeline as well as in the front end dashboard. Okay, the signal code is used. Any questions? I'm going to explain you in detail all these things step by step.
So, hi Naveen, Umar here again.
Yeah, thank.
Naveen, can we also take the Signavio process to a test scripts and like SIT testing and unit testing as well? With
How do you perform? Generally, one of our clients during their migration journey, they did this. Okay, uh, using Signavio, they've identified their as-is process, and using ALM tool like Cloud ALM. Okay, so they have created their they have created their process model diagram for their as-is process, whatever they have identified using the Signavio Process Intelligence in Process Manager, and that process model diagram was imported into Cloud ALM, and from there they have generated test scripts automatically. So in Signavio you cannot do it directly, but Signavio is base for your ALM tool. From Signavio you can import or you can export this process model diagrams, whatever you documented, to uh,
Cloud
ALM
LM.
tools.
Okay.
Okay, and in the ALM tool you can generate the test scripts. So solution manager is more capable in terms of generating the test scripts, whereas Cloud ALM is still evolving. I can say whatever I've been observing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more, the last question is like, so for example, I have a process for a PO creation within SAP, and I have a process called a PO creation within some other third-party system. So both can be migrated to, both can be linked to Signavio and can measure the KPIs, or separate KPIs
Exactly.
to be driven.
No, 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 no. That is the beauty of Signavio. Not only Signavio, any process mining. For example, you can connect to any system. Say, for example, PO is created in other system as you mentioned. In goods receipt related transactions are posted in SAP system, for example. Invoice, your invoice, you're receiving invoice from your supplier using other vim tools, okay, not in SAP directly, because SAP
Yes,
uh,
yes.
is not capable in terms of capturing the invoices, right? It does not have OCR capability. So that for that only they have introduced this open text. They have acquired open text, right? Where you have OCR capabilities. So the Vim tool captures the invoice whenever the invoice is received from your supplier, right? So then it will be posted into your SAP system, and then payment will be made in your SAP system. That means in this only one process, you have multiple systems involved. So by integrating all these systems to Signavio, you'll be able to visualize the end-to-end process in the same dashboard. You'll be able to create KPIs that from purchase order to goods receipt, how much time it is taking. From goods receipt to invoice receipt, how much time it is taking. So in the single dashboard, you can be able to visualize. And one more thing, the organizations might have multiple SAP instances as well, right? Across the globe. I've seen 26 instances for one of our clients. Okay. So we have connected all the 26 instances to single system, to single process mining tool, and management is seeing from one perspective. So management wants to visualize their process like process. That's it. Whether it is happening for one SAP instance or for one company code doesn't matter, right? So
Yes,
being a
yeah, yeah.
management, they want to see at the organization level. So this is the tool where you can integrate all your SAP instances or non-SAP instances to Signavio, and you can visualize the end-to-end process. That is the beauty.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. Thank you.
So that is where that is where other reporting tool advantages of Signavio. They only do whatever you input and you get the reports or you perform the checklist. Whereas this tool is not like that. It performs it helps you to visualize the process
Naveen, you are
end-to-end
not
process.
audible actually. I am facing the issue or other, I don't know. Your voice is
Yeah,
breaking.
your voice is breaking.
Breaking. Okay, fine. Just a minute. Uh, is this clear now?
Yeah, it's clear now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, where I mean, um, did I explain properly? I mean, did it answer your question or
Yeah, Naveen, it's answered
any?
my question. Thank you.
Yeah, fine. So let me show you the other tool as well. So this is process intelligence, whereas we have another tool, process manager. Let me try to wrap it up quickly. Okay, some network issues here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I lost. Sorry, I don't know where I lost. So just give me a moment. So where I lost, can you please let me know if you don't mind?
Yeah, you started sharing the screen of this, yeah, process manager. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So whatever the process we identify using process intelligence, that process can be modeled and the documentation can be maintained in process manager as I mentioned. So this is the process model diagram for your as is process. Okay. So here you can see. For this particular activity, you can maintain who is responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. Okay, and you can maintain whether this activity is fit or gap. So, do you have any rise of objects? Using which IT system this particular activity is being posted, and using which transaction code or Fiori app this respective activity is posted. So you can maintain all these details here. So to be able to create this process model diagram, we should understand the different types of elements as part of BPMN. On the left hand side, you can see these are the different elements available. So what are the activities? What are the gateways? How to understand each and every element? What is, how to understand each and every gateway? So I'm going to show you with an example. Okay, for each and every gateway, so which will help you to remember. So once you are able to understand all these elements, then you will be able to create this process model diagram. Okay, so I'll explain in detail. Okay, so then uh, you know you will be able to create your process model diagram on your own. Okay, is this clear? Any questions so far? Any doubts?
So can we define in this process model like whether it's a manual step, whether it's automatic step, or
Yeah, you can.
what kind of, yeah.
So, I mean, you can, you create your own attribute. Okay, you can customize the attributes even. Okay, so say for example here, custom attributes. These are the custom attributes which have been customized. I mean, that means you have created it. So all these attributes are standard, so provided by Signavio by default, whereas custom attributes have been defined by us. Here, if you want to maintain such kind of details that whether this particular activity is manual or automatic, okay, here you can add that attribute, and you can give the drop down where you can select manual or automatic. Okay, you can document.
Okay, and also we can link the Fury tiles as well, right? To the processes.
Oh, I didn't get it. Fury tiles. So can you repeat it again?
Can we assign also like a Fury tile link to this to the process steps, right?
Fury tile link. Yes, yes, we can do that. I mean,
Okay.
you have that link for your query tile, and you want to give that link here. You can do that,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you.
provided your the user, whoever is accessing that link, should be able to access. I mean, should have that access to query tile. Otherwise, it will not be okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, any other questions? Can I go with the PPT again?
This process flow that you showed,
Yes.
is the tool building it automatically, or is somebody your is the consultant required to build it instead of using Visio? He's just building it using this tool.
No, see, anyone who knows BPMN language can be able to create that. So that is what I mentioned. To be able to create this process model, we should be able to understand the elements. Okay, let me share my screen. One second. Where is this? If you see here, hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
On the left hand side, there are a couple of elements available as part of BPMN activities, gateways, swim lanes, all those things. So these elements are part of BPMN language, business process modeling and notations.
Yeah.
If you can understand these elements, okay, then you will be able to create this process model diagram. You don't need to have a prior experience. Okay.
Right. But this is BPM and seems to be a parallel of Visio, right? Instead of just dragging dropping
Yes.
boxes, now you're using the elements given in the BPM to again draw the same
Drag and
thing using the BPM.
yes, you're right. But the thing is, Visio Signavio is more capable than Visio in terms of Visio is not compatible as per BPMN 2.4. You can just drag and drop, and you can visualize your process model, basic process model, where you
Correct.
cannot document your process like this. Okay, so the Signavio is capable or compatible as per BPMN 2.0 standards. When we talk about BPMN 2.0, all these elements need to be defined. So MS Visio will not stop you to create your process model without BPMN standards. Whereas Signavio, you have to create the process model diagram as per BPMN 2.4. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Fine. So
On a typical project, the
yeah.
past project, whatever you worked on, how is the project structured? Like, how many function consultants do you have? How many developers do you need actually? You showed those two, right? The consultant certification and the developer certification kind of thing, or technical analyst. I forgot the name. So, how many of
This
these
is
are typically?
yeah, this is not like consultant or technical developer kind of certifications. You know, it is based on the solution capabilities. Okay, it is not based
Hmm,
on the technical or functional. Okay, as
okay.
part of Signavio, you have seen all the solutions, right? Insights, intelligence, manager,
Yeah.
collaboration hub, governance. So these certifications are based on solution. Okay.
Hmm,
Uh, Process data analyst is one of the certification which focuses on insights and intelligence, which is pure technical process mining, technical in terms of business process and process mining and all. Okay. uh, Whereas business process consultant purely focuses on process manager to create this process model diagram, to create value chain. So what are the capabilities of process manager, how to leverage them, okay, and governance, how to configure the approval workflows, okay, and how to create the journey modeler, how to use the collaboration hub, such kind of questions you will get. Okay, so these two are different. Whereas when it comes to project, here that depends on the project to project. In a project, in a project, a Signavio consultant who purely focuses on this process mining and modeling, which is process model creation, and we need SME. If
hmm,
client is using SAP, okay, we need SAP SME, which is who is expertise into SCM or MM, or who is expertise into FI. Okay, so if you are mining procure to pay, we need a SCM guy and we need FI guy as well, right?
yeah.
So we need to involve them and we need to understand the process and we need to understand the technical structure of the SAP, and then there, from their point of time, you can mine your process being a Signavio consultant by writing the transformation code, whatever you understand, with the help of business as well as with the technical SME. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
So for validation and all, process owner will be there anyway. Okay, so this is all about the tool. Okay, uh, then I'll wrap up quickly. So when it comes to uses of Signavio, the Signavio can be used in two ways for two purposes. One is in digital transformation journey from, let's say, for example, ECC to S4, or Oracle to SAP, SAP to Oracle, whatever the, when we talk about digital transformation, it is not only, what happened? Is this me? Okay. Yeah. When we talk about digital transformation, it is not only from ECC to S4. It can be anything, system to system. Okay. During the digital transformation journey, the Signavio can help them to understand their as is process, what's happening in their process, and to map their processes and to perform the data cleansing activities. Say, for example, from ECC to S4, there might be lot of unused data might be there, right? Master data, transactional data, which have been which have been still in the open state, where those need to be closed or cleansed, right? So before migrating to S4 itself, if you can analyze and if you can understand what kind of data needs to be archived or cleansed from your system, which will help the business to improve their S4 performance and to reduce the data management cost, right? So and also to perform your fit to standard workshop. As part of that, to you need to map your process with SAP best practices, right?
So to do all these things, this digital transformation, the Signavio is used. Whereas the second way is continuous process improvements. Once you mind your process and you have identified your bottlenecks and you have identified your pain points and you have identified the improvement solutions. So using those improvement solutions, that means you need to monitor your process continuously, right? When we talk about the process optimization or process streamlining, it cannot happen over the night. So we need to monitor the process performance continuously, and we need to you know we need to work on it rigorously. We need to make the stakeholders of your process work rigorously, right? So otherwise it won't happen. Process optimization cannot happen over the night. It will take years together, right? So as part of their continuous process improvements, this scenario tool can be used to monitor your process and to generate the reports out of it and to create the performance indicators to monitor your process. So this Signavio tool is used. Okay. So when it comes to the scope, so yeah, so far SAP has around 35,000 customers who are already using ECC, out of which only 5,000 customers. I think this count might have increased. The count was long back. Okay, it might be around 10,000. Okay, so customers have fully migrated to S4 HANA from ECC. So by the end of 2022, SAP reported that around 20,000 customers are licensed for S4 HANA, out of which around 12,000 customers are net new customers. Remaining are already using ECC customers, okay, existing customers. That means Signavio can be used, as I mentioned, they might have used Oracle. So to be able to migrate their data from ECC Oracle to SAP, they can use the Signavio tool to identify their systems and their data and to map their processes with a SAP, right? And for ECC to S4 also, there are a lot of customers who have not even procured the license, right? So the count size of customers have increased since Signavio is baby of SAP. That is why I'm talking about this, customers of SAP. I'm not taking any other customers, okay? Because SAP is promoting in such a way that Signavio, I think today might be, today in US they are running marathon for Signavio. I mean, they, lot of customers from North America, Latin America are going to be part of that particular marathon, right? So, like that, SAP itself is promoting Signavio to leverage these capabilities in their transformation journey and then in their continuous process improvements. So some of you might already know it that SAP announced that the support for ECC is going to be stopped by end of 2027, right? That means ECC customers are no longer going to get the support for ECC. That means there is no chance for them. They need to either go for S4HANA or for other systems, right? So mostly they prefer S4HANA because once the customer is habituated to SAP, they don't want to go for other systems. Generally in India, I'm talking about. Right? So currently over 5,000 enterprise customers across the globe use Signavio solutions. Not efficiently as of now, but they procured the license. Uh, they are looking for proper usage of the Signavio in their transformations or in their continuous process improvements. So now we can imagine how capable Signavio is. I mean, what is the scope of Signavio? So a lot of customers were, trying to migrate from other process mining tools to Signavio as well. What I have been observing. Okay, and coming to this, who can learn Signavio? Everyone can learn Signavio. Whether you're fresher, graduated just now, or post graduated, or the candidates who are already having experience into other domains, If you look at my experience, I'm nowhere related to any technical experience. Okay. And technical experience and the technical background, I mean, in terms of qualifications, right? So anyone can learn, whoever wants to have a good career into process mining and the BPM space can learn this Signavio. Okay, so process mining consultants who are already working on other process mining tools, and the SAP consultants who are already involved in the migration projects, or who have the experience in SAP like me. So I was the SAP FA consultant. Then I moved my domain from uh, SAP to process mining or BPM space. So, uh, and the BPM consultants who are already working on other BPM tools like Adonis, Aris, MS Visio, or other BPMs. Okay, can also lend the Signavio to integrate BPM capabilities with process mining. If it is a BPM tool alone, it only does the process. It only does the process modeling. It does not offer the process mining. Using this scenario, the BPM capabilities can be integrated with process intelligence, okay, which is process mining. And the RPA consultants, robotic process automation consultants, can also learn this scenario. Nowadays, for them, a lot of organizations are looking the RPA consultants who are having basic knowledge on process mining or modeling. The reason being, unless you understand the process and unless you understand the you identify the potential improvement areas or potential automation areas, what is the use of RPA, right? So Signavio helps them to understand where they can automate the repetitive tasks in the process, using which the RPA consultant can automate the process using RPA bot. And the business process owners who are already working as process owners in the product companies can learn the Signavio to leverage the capabilities of Signavio efficiently in their organization. So these are some job profiles which are available in the market, like business process architect, process consultant, process manager, process improvement specialist, process automation engineer, process architect, solution architect, process optimization manager, governance analyst, process transformation lead. So these are some job profiles which are available in the market. So these are some customers post portfolio for Signavio. So the reason being why I'm showing this is Hilti is construction company, ISDB is banking company, Teva is agro-based company, Matmat is pharma company, SWS is oil and gas company, Aristocrat is gaming, gaming app development company. So El Heller is a CNC machines manufacturing company. So if you look at this customer portfolio, there are customers who are from manufacturing industry, who are from service industry, who are from construction. So there is no barrier for using the Signavio tool. Okay, everyone can use the Signavio tool to understand their process, to identify their pain points in their process, and to document their process, and to streamline or optimize their process. There is no barrier. Okay, so everyone can use the Signavio. Okay. So that's it from my end. Any questions so far? If you have any questions related to Signavio, please shoot me out. If you have any questions related to batch, timings, cost, please reach out to experts of team.
Thank you, Naveen. The session was overall very good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Uh,
Yeah, Naren, this is Senthil here. So there is one
hi.
question. Hi. So basically, I want to be a like Signavio consultant, okay, like process consultant, business process analyst. So I should learn the coding, like I should develop the coding knowledge, or I should develop the technical knowledge. How it is the profile?
Yes, yes, but I'll be there because as I mentioned, as part of our training curriculum, which I've shared you, uh, I mean, before jumping into the process intelligence, okay, so we will practice the syntaxes of SQL and Signal, okay. So basic knowledge is required, not in-depth or advanced knowledge. So over the period of time, or over the time you get the experience and the expertise, you'll get that. Okay. Whereas I'm going to explain you the syntaxes of SQL. So then using that knowledge, we'll jump into the process intelligence. Then we will apply those syntaxes wherever required. Okay. So the curriculum itself is framed in such way you don't need to worry about it. When it comes to your question, yes, but I'm here to teach you how to uh, learn those. Okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Naren. Yeah.
So due to some updates. So yeah, I'm extremely sorry. So can you hear me?
We can hear you audible, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So first of all, thank you for joining the session. Welcome you all. And myself, Naren, I am having around 10 plus years of experience, where I worked as SAP FI consultant, and then I worked as Celonis process mining consultant, where I supported a couple of clients in their digital transformation journey. So then I've been working as a Signavio consultant for the last around 3 years. So I supported clients in their transformation journey from ECC to S4. So this is all about me. I don't know whether you've gone through or you attended the demo or not. I can see Umar Taj attended and Senthil. So, if possible, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, I am Rizad,
Yeah.
working in PIH as application support manager
Okay.
and carrying around 6 years of SAP experience.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Rizal.
Thank you.
So, Jason.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. So, Jason, I'm working as a senior business partner, basically as SAP MM. So, same company working with BH,
Mhm.
around 8, 9 years experience in SAP.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason. So, Umar Taj Senthil, uh, I know to some
Hi
extent.
Naveen. Hi
Yeah.
Naveen.
I
Yeah,
know.
so, yeah, I'm working as a solution architect
Okay.
in North Oil Company here in Qatar.
Okay. Okay.
So I have almost like 15 years of experience into SAP into
Okay.
various modules, and
Okay.
I have done almost around 8 to 8 end-to-end implementation, including S/4HANA and ECC. I started my
Okay.
journey with ECC, and I'm still working with the S/4HANA projects. Currently, we are working with an S/4HANA project here, which is a greenfield implementation.
Okay. Okay.
They had an ECC earlier, so
Uh,
now they are implementing the S/4HANA here in North Oil Company. So
okay.
currently, we are into explore phase. Okay.
Okay.
So I also work with Nizad in earlier company and also Jason. So
Okay.
recently I moved out from that organization and currently I joined the Northern Company.
Okay, fine, fine. Great to know about you, but that's thank you.
Mhm.
So, Senthil,
Yeah, hi Naren, good morning.
hi, Senthil. Good
So,
morning.
hi. So I'm basically, working as an SAP consultant. So I have a 10 plus years of experience. My base module is a PP, and then I'm working for a QM, PM, some extent to PS also.
Okay,
So basically, we are belongs to the same organization earlier, and now also I was working along with Rizad and Jason, the same team.
okay,
So,
okay,
so previously both four are working for the same organization. So I also work for implementation project like S4HANA, ECC.
okay,
So yeah, so now we are looking for somewhere the new journey about the process
okay.
mining, and then uh, Signavio.
Okay, so good to know about you and all of you. So I think you are friends. Okay, fine, got
Yeah.
it. So, okay, fine. So let me share my screen.
Yes.
Hope you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
So, as already mentioned in the demo as well, but yeah, this is the agenda of our training curriculum. So let me again, explain about the agenda. So I'm going to explain you the process mining concept. What is this process mining? Who invented this, and how this process mining tool is being evolved over the period of time. So where is the process mining tool now? Okay, so we'll discuss about that. And as you are already from SAP, I don't want to take much time on explaining all these things about SAP overview. The reason being why I kept this is, some of the participants might be from SAP, might not be from SAP, right? So since they need to understand the concepts of SAP to some extent, right? So that is why not only SAP, any ERP too, right? So as part of that, since Signavio is tightly integrated with SAP, so I just thought to explain about SAP and all. I'll give you an overview of SAP. So I'm then manufacturing industry overview. Okay, so not manufacturing process, especially manufacturing industry. So any business runs on the various processes, right? So what are those processes involved in a manufacturing industry? How each and every business process is interrelated to each other. Okay, so we will just see an overview of manufacturing industry, and out of all those business processes, we'll take an example of procure to pay process as a business case study, where we will deep dive into the procurement process, and in terms of what are the activities involved in the process, how these activities are posted in SAP, where the data is stored in SAP in terms of tables. Okay, and in the procure to pay process, if we mine a procurement process, what are the critical KPIs to be measured? So mining means identifying your as is process and also identifying the bottlenecks in your process. That means pain points. When we talk about pain points, how do we measure it? How do we identify it? So to measure that, or to identify the pain points, the KPIs to be measured, right? So what are those critical KPIs to be measured? Okay, so how to understand them and all, we will see in detail about in the going forward. Okay, so then once we are done with the conceptual stage, can you please be on mute? Something nice. Yeah, fine. Thank you. So once we are, once we understand the procurement process and its visibility after mining, then we will jump into the Signavio tool, where I will bring you through the process insights solution. So as part of Signavio, process insights is one of the solution. So I will bring you through this solution. Where we don't need any technical expertise. However, it is better to visualize the dashboard and all, right? So this is a plug and play solution. You just have to plug your source system to process insights. Process insights will start capturing the data. It will automatically start calculating the insights, and it will start identifying the issues, and it will start providing the recommendations. So how it works? So by taking an example of procurement process itself, we will we will deep dive into that process in the process insights tool. Then I will explain the syntaxes of Signal or SQL. Okay, Signal stands for Signavio Analytics Language. So before we start our journey, or before we start learning about the process intelligence, we need an expertise of Signal. Signal is a technical or programming language which is used in process intelligence. Okay, so before directly jumping into process intelligence, I'll explain you the syntaxes of a Signal. Signals is similar to SQL. Okay, I'm going to explain you the syntaxes of SQL, so that it will be easy for us to get hands-on practice as well. So there you get a confidence that, hey, I can write the code. Then we will jump into the process intelligence tool, where we deep dive our knowledge in terms of I'll explain you how to establish the connection. I'll show you what are the steps involved in the connection process by taking an example of SAP. Okay, and however, I'm not going to show you practically, but I'm going to explain you how the things happen, because the connection will be established by the basis consultant in the respective SAP instance. Okay, so I will just explain you the concept, how how the what are the steps involved in this connection establishment. Okay, then I will explain you the extraction, how to extract the data. I will extract the data practically, and what are the strategies to be followed to optimize the extraction process. So I'll explain all these details. And once we are done with the extraction phase, then we will jump into the transformation phase, where we need to write the transformation code, where we need the expertise or knowledge of signal. Okay, then we will develop the front end dashboard, where we create a couple of KPIs to measure the process performance, as I mentioned. So how to build the dashboard and all, we will see in the process intelligence. So this is the main part in Signavio. Okay, so then we'll jump into the process modeling, which is BPM and language. So to create a process model diagram, we need expertise of BPM and 2.0 standards. Okay, BPM stands for Business Process Model and Notation. So what are the core elements and advanced elements of BPM and 2.0? What is, how to understand them? And by taking an example for each and every core element, we will try to understand, or we will try to remember for a long time. Okay, I'm going to explain you by taking an example for each and every concept or each and every core element, so that you can remember it for a long time. And I'm going to provide you the tool license for 1 month, so where you can start practicing your own. So I'm going to give you an example, okay, how to create a process model diagram from the scratch. There you can start creating it. Okay, so then process modeling BPM and 2.0 is a diagram which can be created as part of Signavio Process Manager. So Signavio Process Manager is a business process management tool. Okay, as part of this BPM tool, generally BPM tool helps the organizations to create a diagram and to document it in terms of documentation. That means, you can maintain the details, like who is responsible for what, who does what, and using which IT system the respective activity is posted, and is there any detailed documentation available to maintain for that particular process. All those details can be maintained in the BPM tool generally. So when it comes to Signavio Process Manager, how capable the Signavio Process Manager in terms of customizing the dashboard, customizing the documentation process, or maintaining the details and generating the reports, okay, and importing, exporting features. So all those features, how to leverage the capabilities of Process Manager, once we create the process modeling diagram, we will see. Okay, and then process collaboration hub. What are the uses of process collaboration hub? While creating a process model diagram, how can we use this process collaboration hub? Okay, so I will explain you. And then user management concept, that means how to give the access to the users and how to restrict the accesses at each and every level. It can be at process intelligence level and process manager level. In process manager also, if you want to restrict the access for one folder or one process flow, how can you do that? Okay, so we will see in detail about this user management concept as well. Just give me a minute. Hope the agenda is clear, right? So let's get started with process mining introduction. If you have any queries, please stop me then and there. Okay, I'll explain you. Fine. So when it comes to process mining was first introduced by Will Vander Alst. Will Vander Alst is the father of process mining. Okay, so in the early 2000s, as they started some research, okay, on the businesses. So in terms of understanding the business and in terms of understanding the issues in the business, they didn't know that this is a process, but they just started their research in terms of identifying their in terms of identifying any business issues, basically. So as part of that, over the period of time, they realized that any business runs on various processes. Okay, so when we talk about process, how to discover them, okay, in terms of how to identify the process. So generally, process means combination of sequential activities to achieve a goal, right? To achieve an end goal or multiple goals, right? So what are those goals? I mean, what is the process to complete the entire what are the activities involved in the process to complete the entire process? First we need to understand it, right? From there the research began. Okay, so as part of their research, they came up with some techniques like data science, process science, and all. But later on, they concluded their research with the process mining. So, as part of this process mining, they thought to identify the process. And when we talk about process, what are the activities involved in the process? If we can understand that, it will be easy for us to get the data, as well as to visualize the data, as well as to identify the issues or pain points in the process, right? So in the business, basically. So by combining this data science and process science, they came up with a technique called process mining. So in the early days of process mining, they struggled a lot to identify the approval workflows and to understand the data flow, how the data is flowing in the business, how to capture the data into the process mining and all. So later on, they came up with a solution called event log data. That means you capture the you extract the raw data from your source system to the process mining tool. Okay, I'm not talking about the Signavio. Signavio is a process mining tool, but process mining is a technique. Okay, so as part of that, they thought to have event log data. So when we talk about event log data, what is the event log data? So generally, you have the raw data from your source system. But if you can segregate that raw data into the events, that means combination of events is nothing but the process, right? So in a process, how many number of events are involved and how we can identify each and every event. So then as part of that event, okay, you can just capture the event related data. That's it. Combination of all this data is nothing but the event log data. You will get the event log data as a whole, right? So using that event log data, they started visualizing the process, and they started identifying the issues in the process. Like that, the process mining technique or tools were introduced into the market. Okay, so that means you're analyzing the process related data. Okay, so that was the story. But over the period of time, the process mining tool is being evolved like anything. Okay, so as part of that, just give me a second. Yeah, sorry. So as part of process mining evolution, uh, initially, as I mentioned, they started their journey to identify the process, and they succeeded in it in terms of identifying the step by step activities, and by capturing the event log data, and by introducing the various widgets, okay, into the dashboard, using which we can identify the bottlenecks or pain points in the process. From there, the journey started for process mining. Over the period of time, the process mining tool can be integrated with BPM systems. That is what Signavio is doing now. Okay, Signavio not only does the process mining, okay, it also does the process modeling, BPM capabilities. Process manager is nothing but your BPM capabilities. Process insights and intelligence are nothing but your process mining solutions or capabilities, right? So whatever the process you identify in the process mining, using that, you can document your process in the BPM tool called Process Manager in Signavio. So that means you are identifying your as-is process and you're documenting that process in the BPM tool, which acts as a single source of truth for the organization, right? So, which helps the organizations to share their current process to anyone. Say, for example, if a new employee joins to the organization, so if they want to understand how your business is functioning, you can just share this process model diagram to them, which is as this process for you, right? So they can easily understand that what's happening in your process. So to that extent, the process mining tool got evolved. So we will see in detail about this process manager and mining and all. Yeah, but yeah, and over the period of time, the process mining techniques have been extended to the extent where you can even compare your as-is process with the to-be process. For every business process, if you identify your as-is process, you will have your target process as well, right? To-be process, right? So that means if you process with activities, 30 steps you are following. So every organization wants to execute the rest of the process in 10 activities, right? Which can help to reduce the time, can help them to reduce the cost, right? Process cost, and which can help them to reduce the process inefficiencies. So for every organization, they don't want to execute their process using multiple activities or multiple steps. So that is where the target process is, right? To be process model. So using process mining, you can compare your as-is process. Anyway, the process mining tool can help you to identify your as-is process. Only thing is you have to model your process in your process manager or BPM software. That process to be process model should be linked to your current process. There you can start comparing your as-is process with to be process. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this, but to what extent the process got evolved, I'm just explaining here. Okay, so by comparing your as and to be, you can be able to understand that what are the activities which created from your happy path. That means to be processed. Okay, so the count is high or low or manageable. So if the count is high, where the business needs to focus more on those on that step particularly, right? So that step needs to be eliminated from the process, which can help the organizations to reduce the cycle time and to reduce the process cost as well, right? So to that extent, the process mining tool got evolved, where you can just show models. So next, the process mining tools can also be integrated or internally. These are integrated with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Say, for example, in Signavio, we have process insights. Okay, process insights is a tool which is a plug and play solution. You just have to plug your source system to process insights. Process insights will start capturing the data and calculating the indicators, performance indicators, and start identifying the issues and providing the recommendations as well. We don't do anything, which is a AI-driven tool. So to that extent, the process mining tools are evolved. Nowadays, in process intelligence as part of your process mining, process AI is introduced. So over the period of time, the tools are introduced, whatever the way the industry is getting changed. So the tools are also, the process mining technique is also getting evolved. Okay. So yeah. And earlier, whenever the process mining tool was introduced into the market, there was a myth that the process mining can only be integrated or adapted by a few industries or manufacturing industries or very big industries and all. But that is a myth. Nowadays, every industry, it can be manufacturing, healthcare, life science, or service industry, or BFSI industry, or whatever the industry it is, irrespective of the industry, everyone can, every organization can adopt the process mining solution to identify their as is process and to identify the issues in their process. Okay, to take the necessary improvement solutions to improve their process. So there is no restriction for industry. Okay, so to that extent, the process mining tool got evolved. Yeah. So we are talking about process mining. What is process mining, and what are the steps involved in the process mining? Generally, process mining is a technique designed to discover your as-is process and to identify your pain points or bottlenecks in your process and implement the necessary actions based on the process mining tool identifications. Business can start implementing the best improvement solutions. Then business can monitor their KPIs. Once you adopt the improvement solutions, you need to track it, right? Unless you track it, you cannot understand whether that particular solution is working fine or not. How do you do? Measure if that KPI is not performing well for your process. Okay, then you adopt the improvement solution, and you will start monitoring or tracking the KPI over the period of time. You extract the data frequently, every week or every month. So then you monitor that particular KPI, how whether it is performing well or not. So like this, you can monitor your process performance, which can see when we talk about process optimization or process streamlining, that won't happen in a single day, right? Process automation and all that won't happen over the night. It will take years together, right? So we need to monitor until we reach that goal. If you have automation rate of 20% for one activity, if you adopt some automation solution like RPA bot or something else to improve that particular KPI performance, okay, so the KPI performance will not improve over the night. You need to track it, and you need to monitor whether that particular KPI or whether that particular solution is fit for this problem or not. If that doesn't fit for your problem, then you need to change your solution dynamically. Then only you can achieve an end goal called process optimization or process streamlining or process automation. Okay. So before doing all these things, first we need to identify what is the potential automation area, right? That is where process mining helps the organizations. So to do all these things, to discover the process, to identify the pain points or bottlenecks in your process, to identify the potential improvement areas, there are series of steps to be followed, okay, to achieve that end. What are those? We start the process. Make sure that first we need to identify which process to be mined. Okay, we need to finalize the process, or we need to uh, finalize the process where we have more issues in our organization. First, we need to identify that process. Once you identify the process to be mined, okay, then we need to finalize, or we need to understand the process orally, how the business is executing the process, what are the activities involved in the process. Say for example, if you finalize that you want to mine procure to pay process, okay, as part of your procure to pay process, what are the activities involved in your process, how you are executing the procure to pay process. So starting from purchase requisition, say for example, you have purchase requisition, then purchase order, then goods receipt, then invoice, and then payment. So these are the activities involved in the process generally, general procure to pay process, wherever you go. Okay, whatever the business you touch, irrespective of the industry or anything, this is the general process. Whereas when it comes to a business, that might be different. Some some people might follow some approval workflows for an organization. One organization might have their approval workflows like the for purchase order, if they have a value of that purchase order is less than 100K dollar, then sometimes you don't need approvals for some of the organizations I'm talking about. That if the purchase order value is more than 100K and less than 500K, they might need the approvals from the respect to CPO or chief procurement officer or some procurement manager and all. If the purchase order value is more than 500K dollar, then that PO needs to be approved by board of directors. So that depends. So depends on the business and all organizations, they will have different approval flows. So what are those? We need to understand them. So some of the business, they might have direct procurement, some of the business they might have indirect procurement, right? So what are those? Okay, so what is the process they are following? Okay, so what are those activities involved in the process? Even though they follow this happy path approach, like PRPO, goods, invoice, payment, sometimes there might be chances of having changes to the respective activities, right? Once you create a purchase order, there might be chances of having changes to your purchase order. What kind of changes those are? So are you making changes to quantity, price, or supplier, or payment terms, or expected delivery date? What kind of changes might happen in your process? You just take the inputs from the business first. Whether that is happening in your process or in your organization or not, that that data should speak, not we, right? So first we will try to understand what are the activities involved in the process from end to end. Then next step would be in which IT system the respective activity is posted. When we are talking about procure to pay, purchase requisition is one activity where using which IT system this purchase requisition is posted. Okay, in which IT system the respective purchase requisition is posted. And if there is an activity called purchase order, in which IT system the respective purchase order is posted. And then material document, which is goods receipt, in which system that is posted. If you are receiving invoice from the supplier, are you using any VIM tool, vendor invoice management tools like OpenText, ReadSoft, Basper kind of thing? If yes, then you need to connect that system. So you need to finalize the systems involved in your process. Okay, then you have to connect all those source systems to your Signavio or any process mining tool. Then we need to extract the data for all these activities. Okay, it can be transactional data or master data, whatever is required for us to perform that root cause analysis. All the data needs to be extracted from your source systems to your process mining or Signavio. Okay, once you connect your source system and extract the data, that raw data, whenever we extract the data, that is raw data, right, which we are extracting from our source system to our Signavio or any process mining tool, that is raw data.
So that raw data needs to be transformed into the event log data. So this is the important step in process mining, okay, where we will define the events using, by writing transformation code using Signal, okay. So that is why this is very important. So two things here. We need to understand that, what is event logs and why do we need to transform the raw data into event logs? If you can understand this, the process mining is easy. Okay, let me try to explain, and we will see anyway in the tool going forward. Okay, generally, event logs means, as I've explained in the previous slide when I was explaining about process mining tool evolution, the event log is nothing but, any process mining tool cannot understand the language of raw data, what it is and where it is storing, what are the technical fields it is and all. If you want to visualize your process, what are the events you have in your process, or what are the activities you have in your process? That is what your end goal, right? So to visualize that, you need to define all those events in the backend, saying that, hey, I have purchase requisition in my process. The purchase requisition related data is stored in so and so table, okay. And in this combination, in the combination of three parameters, which is case ID, event name, and timestamp, in this combination, whatever the data you identify, take that as an event, okay, and get it for me in the front end. That is for purchase requisition. Same for purchase requisition changes. Same for purchase order creation. So the purchase order related data is stored in so and so EKKO, EKPO table. In these tables, if you identify these three parameters, which is case ID, event name, timestamp, then you identify it as an activity or event in my process, and get that purchase order creation, how many number of purchase orders have been created in my process, into the front end. So like this, for all the activities you have in your process, all those activities need to be defined as events in the process mining, okay, using these parameters. Anyway, I will explain you in detail by showing practically, but as a theory, you just have to understand what is the use of this step. So then you visualize these events in the front end-to-end process, like what is the first activity, what is the end activity, okay. So what are the steps or activities involved from end to end? So to get that visualization, or to get that analysis, to perform that analysis in the front end, you need the event log data, okay. So that is why raw data needs to be transformed into the event log data. So when it comes to what is event log data, the combination of all these events related data is nothing but the event log data. So events means activities: purchase requisition creation, purchase requisition changes, purchase requisition deletions, purchase order creation, changes, deletions, and material goods receipt, goods returns to the supplier, and then invoice receipt, invoice posting, and invoice approvals and payments. All these are events in your process, okay. So this is all about the transformation of raw data into event log data. Once you transform your raw data into event log data, using this event log data itself, we can perform our analysis, process performance, okay. You can perform your root cause analysis for your process. So using various widgets available in process mining or process intelligence of Signavio, like process discovery. Say, for example, we have process discovery as a widget in process intelligence, which is predefined widget, using which you can visualize your end-to-end process, okay. As I mentioned, what is the first activity, what is the end activity, what are the number of steps involved in your end-to-end process, okay, and how to understand that, okay. Then you have other widget called variant explorer, process conformance, other widgets like value widget, breakdown widget, pie chart, bar chart. You can visualize your process related data using different widgets. Okay, so where you can perform your analysis. Okay, you can perform your analysis and you can understand how your process is performing. Okay, so where you're lacking, that means where the organization needs to improve, then the organization can focus on that area rather than focusing on the entire process. They can highlight, or they can get the highlighted pain point using this process mining tool. So once you perform your analysis, once you analyze your process and identify the bottlenecks in your process, then business has to take the best improvement solution to improve your process. Okay, as I mentioned, whether whether you want to if the business identifies that some organizational changes need to be made, which can help them to speed up their or streamline their process, like approval process. So if the business can streamline properly instead of waiting for days together to get it approved. Okay, so how can we streamline it to make it simpler, or to get it approved within very less period of time? How can we streamline it? Okay, or if you identify that some automation needs to be adapted, but for which activity? You cannot adapt automation for all the activities, right? Wherever you're lacking, wherever the automation is required for you in your process, based on your analysis, you can just adapt that improvement solutions like automation. As I mentioned earlier, say for example, you identified that there is an automation rate for your invoice creation is 20%. Okay, so organization decided to adopt the automation tool where they want to achieve a goal of having 80% automation rate for invoice creation. Okay, so you're now at 20%. You adopt the improvement solutions using some RPA bots, robotic process automation, or some AI tools. Okay, over the period of time, that means 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you continuously monitor your KPI performance, and you need to achieve your end goal of having 80% automation rate for that particular activity, which can help the organizations to streamline their end-to-end process. Okay, what is the automation rate for purchase requisition? If say for example, whenever the MRP triggers generally in SAP, right, material requirement planning, whether they are using that standard functionality to convert that requisition, to convert that planning into the requisition, purchase requisition, and then purchase requisition into the purchase order. So if the automation rate is very less, they're not using the SAP standard functionality itself. They don't need to adapt any automation tools. They don't need to invest their amount and time on RPA tools or any new tools. They can just configure their system and they can automate, or they can standardize their requisition and purchase order process. So such kind of decisions to be taken by the business once they identify those points, those pain points in the end-to-end process. Okay, so the end goal should be for any organization to have or to achieve an end goal of optimizing and streamlining the process. How can you achieve? So to achieve this process optimization, you need to adapt improvement solutions. The business needs to adapt improvement solutions like automations and some organizational changes or some data cleansing activities. All those decisions to be taken based on the issue you identify using process mining. Any questions so far? Am I going fast?
Naveen, I have one question actually.
Yeah.
Like for example, so this process measuring, right? What are the measuring steps? Like for example, only at a transaction level, or or we can measure at a time level. Like for example, conversion of the PR to PO takes 2 days. Okay,
Yeah.
can we monitor at a time level,
Yeah.
or 1 minute?
Yes, you're right. So when we measure the key performance indicators for your process, the KPIs can be measured on various parameters, like it can be lead time, or it can be some quantity, or some quality, or some automation rate assessments and all. Okay, it can be anything. If you have the data, you can write a code to create that widget, and you can visualize that widget in the front end. So whatever the way it is, it can be, first you identify automation rate, for example. Okay, you identify that there is an automation rate of 20%, but due to this automation rate, what is the lead time we have? Okay, so if it is taking 3 days, then that needs to be automated, which is very high lead time, right? So you can deep dive like anything. Okay, so the KPIs can be created based on lead times, or based on some quantity structures or quality measurements. So I'm going to show you how do you measure these performance indicators by taking an example. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
what
one
are
more
the critical
question.
ways to
Yeah,
measure? And
one more question is like, as
Mhm.
you told, there is a P2P scenario. Okay. So in P2P scenario, I have one straightforward scenario which works for a process, and I have another scenario which is not a straightforward scenario. Okay, which may involve a third party system. Like for example, maybe I'm creating a PR, and the third party system is creating an RFQ for me, and then again it is linking back to SAP. So this also can be measured, right?
Yes, yes, that is where process mining tool can help. So, in whatever the tool, the the respective activity is posted, the respective tool can be integrated with the Signavio, and then you can start defining those steps, and you can visualize your end-to-end process. Okay,
So
so
I can define two KPIs then. One is straightforward process, one KPI, and one is going with third party. Two KPIs I can say, right?
you're right. You're right. You're right. You can define the KPIs, but as you mentioned, first we need the data, right? So one is happening in some system, one activity is happening some third party system, right? So first you need to connect those systems into a single dashboard, and you can start visualizing the process. Okay, that is where this process mining tools can help the organization. So someone asked that we have some analytical tools available in the market, how this process mining is different from others. So the process mining tool can integrate with any system, and can visualize end-to-end process in a single dashboard, and can start performing analysis for each and every activity. One activity might be happening in some system, another activity might be happening in a second system. Doesn't care. Okay, we don't we just have to connect them, and once it comes to the front end, then you can perform like a process, not based on tool. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Naveen, one question.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, suppose, for example, you have a multiple system. So, as a process mining consultant, we should know the backend. Then only we can able to link to the Signavio, right? The backend tables, how data is flowing, right?
But we see, in a good question actually. uh, Being a process mining consultant, we don't need to have knowledge of that particular system. Say for example, if you're mining procure-to-pay process, and the steps the activities are posted in SAP system, let's assume. So in the procure-to-pay process, we have we need expertise of as well as FI, but we don't have that knowledge. You need to involve the respective technical SME into the project, and the technical SME needs to interact with the business, and needs to capture the requirements, and needs to understand the business process, and he needs to explain which activity happens where. Okay, if that activity is posted in some other system like Oracle, we need Oracle expertise. We need to pull that consultant into the project. We don't need to understand as a process mining, because see, when we might understand from SAP perspective, for example, if the client is using some other system, how can we understand, right?
Okay, okay, okay,
So,
okay.
so they in a process mining project, generally the project involves technical SME of that tool, and a process mining consultant, and a process owner. The combination of all these three will execute the project.
Okay, okay.
So basically, we need an SAP functional consultant or Oracle functional consultant to tell us what are the processes.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Naren, I have one questions particularly related to widgets and things like process discovery.
Okay.
So, since Signavio is a SAP product, I believe processes like J45 or something like this, I believe it will be there, correct? So this is what you mean by widgets like process discovery and adapting such practice into the Signavio for the easy navigations and process mining. So when it comes to some custom developments, such as we have a BTP, right? In business technology platform, we do some of the application development. Sometimes we bring co-pilot studios for AI things, and sometimes we do some applications, the Azure, right? So in such cases, how it's flexible to adapt in Signavio this process?
Okay. Before coming to that, I'll explain you from ECC perspective, for example. As you mentioned, since Signavio is the baby of SAP, they have some accelerators available where we can get the process templates, okay, by default. Okay, we just can connect the ECC system, and not only ECC, it can be a SAP related product, ECC or S4, any Ariba and all. So you can just use those accelerators, which can help the organizations to reduce the technical expertise and the cost and the time and all. Okay, whereas if that ECC custom, if there is a customization, for example, so obviously there will be customization for every business. Say for example in ECC, so they have been using that legacy system since decades together, right? So in their ECC system, they will be having customization for sure, for which activity and what kind of customization it is, right? So there you cannot use the templates where you just have to write the code from the scratch. So whether it is customized or standardized, we need to write the code. For standardization, if it is a SAP product, then we'll find templates or accelerators available. Whereas if it is customized, then we need to write the code from the scratch. But it will support us. Okay. So when it comes to BTP, yes, you're right. So it can be any tool, whether you are connecting with any tool it is, you can connect and you can get the data and you can start defining your own events. Okay, that is what I'm trying to explain here. So is this clear, Rizat? Does it answer your question or something different?
Yeah, so basically what I understand that we have to write the codes on some custom processes involved. That's what you're
Yes.
trying to say, right?
Right. For some of them, the accelerators are available. For some of them, the accelerators are not available. For whatever the accelerators are not available, we need to write the code from the scratch so that we can visualize that activity in the dashboard. That is what I'm trying to explain. Okay.
So basically meaning one more question to
Yeah. No
for the
worries.
same thing. So basically, let's say I have some custom process involved in direct procurement purchasing, for example. So I'll be able to adapt the standard of J45.
Yes.
Then we will add whatever the changes.
Yes.
We'll rewrite again. This is what
You're
you're
right.
trying.
You're right. That
Mm.
can happen, or you can define from the scratch as well.
Oh, okay.
So either you can make the changes in the existing standard code, or you can define the code from the scratch altogether, and you can start writing it. So I will show you. That is,
Okay.
all these are look like some visualization or some theory, but when we are going to jump into the tool, you will come to know that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So how to do it and all. The once we are done with this code part, then you will understand this question whatever you asked me. Okay.
Sure. Sure. Go ahead.
Fine. So let me go back there. Yeah. So this is all about the process mining. Okay. Now, if we are mining a process, what are the benefits, or what is the use of this process mining, right? Unless we have any benefit, right? So what is, how can we do that, right? So once we mine our process, first thing is we can visualize the end-to-end business process, right? So as we were discussing about the different systems, the data might be scattered in different systems. So sometimes in the SAP itself, the client might have different SAP instances, right? So based on geographical area or based on their product type and all, they might have different SAP instances. For one of our clients, I've seen they have their operations across 50 or 60 countries. So to manage the data, they have 26 SAP instances. Okay, so by combining two countries' data into a single table, sometimes the countries like China and some legal compliances are more, wherever the legal compliances are more, they used to maintain their data separately for that country itself. Okay, so by connecting all these systems into a single tool, single Signavio or process mining tool, being a management, if see, when we are using process mining tool, we need to think from the management lens. Okay, so not from the consultant point of view. We need to think from the management point of view, where every management wants to have the entire end-to-end process in a single dashboard, right? So as part of that, they can visualize their end-to-end process in a single dashboard. Okay, that is the first advantage they get. And by mining your process, by identifying the bottlenecks, by adopting the respective necessary improvement solutions, it will help the organizations to reduce the cost. Okay, and it will help the organizations to speed up and streamline their business processes. Okay, so by taking the necessary improvement solutions, the ultimate goal is to achieve the process optimization and process streamlining, right? So which will automatically help them to improve their customer satisfaction. When we talk about customer satisfaction, what do they need? What does the customer need generally? They need quality, they need on-time delivery, they need good price, right? So this process mining tool can help them to understand what is the customer sentiment, to analyze the customer sentiment, and what are the sales from the last few years. Okay, and which is causing late deliveries to the customers, which problem is causing late deliveries to the customers, for example, right? So the say for example, let's take an example of this late deliveries to the customer, which is causing customer dissatisfaction. What is the reason behind it? So production is delayed, so that is why you are not able to deliver the goods to your customers. Why the production is delayed? Is there any machinery downtime or breakdown is happening, or are there any laborers protesting, or what is the issue? Or production is delayed just because of goods have not been received from your supplier on time. That means in the procurement process, your supplier is not able to deliver or supply the goods to your business on time. So that is why, due to this impact, the production is delayed. Due to production is delayed, you're not able to deliver the goods to your customers. Just imagine, one problem in procurement process is causing the entire organization's operations, is impacting the entire organization's operations, right? So that is where process mining tool can help the organizations. Okay, so nowadays the process mining evolved, and the new concept got introduced into the market, but that is not matured. We are calling it as object centric process mining, OCPM. So that means, if you mine a process for a single process, you can identify the process related end-to-end visualization, whereas in the OCPM, you can visualize the entire organization's related business into a single dashboard. So as I've explained just now, if your customer is not satisfied with your delivery, then which process is causing that issue? So all these processes are integrated in a single dashboard that is called OCPM. OCPM can help the organizations to visualize the entire organization's business process into a single dashboard. Okay, so using these techniques, which can help the organizations to take the immediate actions and can overcome that problem, which can help them to improve the customer satisfaction. So as I mentioned, once you adapt the improvement solutions to achieve an end goal of process optimization, this process optimization won't happen over the night, right? So it will take months or years together. So we need to monitor our improvements continuously. Process mining can help the organizations to do that. So by generating the reports on weekly basis or daily basis or monthly basis, they can deep dive their analysis and they can take the necessary improvement actions. So where you will get the proper visualization of your process digital footprints. Okay, and it will help you to improve your compliance by detecting non-compliant processes or fraud. Okay, so these are the you can basically the Signavio as a transformation tool can help the organizations to manage their process life cycle end to end. If some changes are going to happen in a process, that should not happen directly. That should follow some approval processes. Unless you follow that process, so unless you follow that approval process, that respective change should not be published into your your production environment. So if that happens, that means you are not having proper compliances in terms of making changes to your process related activities. Okay. So all these are some benefits which I'm showing you, but other than this, we may have multiple direct or indirect benefits we will get. So yeah, obviously then we are now in SAP. So I will not take much time. Okay, so you know already why ERP, what is ERP. Earlier we used to maintain decentralized systems where the data is scattered in multiple Excel files, okay, where the data is not centralized, not cannot be accessible by the different departments if that data is maintained by one department. So all these were the problems of decentralized system. So due to that, the data redundancy would be increased and the real-time data would not be available. So the customer, that might lead to customer dissatisfaction. Production might be delayed, cost might be increased due to these decentralized systems. There, centralized system came into picture. We call it as ERP. SAP is an ERP tool, as you know already. So nowadays SAP is transitioning from ECC to S4, right? So this is landscape development, quality, production. Generally, the reason for this slide, why I kept this, is the persons who are not from SAP background should also be able to understand this. What is the landscape of SAP? The reason being, when it comes to Signavio license, say for example, if it is process insights, okay, if you take TDD license, which is test environment license, okay, you can load the data for one time. Whenever you load the data for one time, you can only be able to integrate your quality system to your process insights if you take that TDD license. Okay, so when we talk about one-time license and where we need to integrate, or we can be able to integrate the quality system, one should be able to understand what is quality system. So that is why I kept this slide. So if it is the frequent load, say for example, the business has taken frequent load license, not the one-time load, the cost is very high, okay, for frequent load. So for one-time load, the cost would be very minimal. Okay, they charge around $25,000. Whereas if it is a frequent load, where you will connect your production system to your process insights, and you can configure your frequency of data load, whether weekly or monthly or like that. So they charge around $220,000 something. So that is the difference between this one-time license and the frequent load license. So to be able to load this frequent, to be able to load this data frequently, there should be a production data, right? So that is why the production system should be integrated with your process insights. Okay, there is production system is generally the day-to-day business transactions are posted, right? So that is why I just kept this slide. So these are the functional modules and technical modules to handle the respect to business process related data. So when it comes to SAP organization structure, as you know already, the SAP is, SAP system itself is configured in such a way that you can generate the reports, or you can handle the data, or you can manage the data, with respect to respective processes, right? So there is a client, as you know, which is source system. At source system level, you can define these 4 activities, which is controlling area, chart of accounts, chart of depreciation, trade control area. Say, for example, chart of accounts. Why do we need to maintain chart of accounts at source system level? So I'm just trying to explain. Okay. So generally, if the organization is having their businesses across the different countries, okay, and they are maintaining the data in one system, for example, okay. So if they are having their operations in India as well as in UK, for example, both the countries are having their fiscal year from 1st April to 31st March, right? In that case, you don't need to create multiple chart of accounts. You can just use or reuse the one chart of accounts for multiple company codes. Okay, so that is the reason these these 4 are maintained at source system level. These can be assigned to multiple company codes. Say, for example, chart of accounts can be assigned to multiple companies. As I mentioned, for India, you might have different company code. For UK, you might have different company code. So these company codes, one chart of account can be used by multiple company codes. Company code is a legal entity, right? Which is, based on your legal compliances, the respect to company code is created. So under company code, under one company code, if you are creating a company code based on country, for example, okay, for that particular country, you might have different legal requirements or compliances. Okay, so in the respective country, you may have your operations, sales operations, procurement operations, and you may have different plants, production environments, and all, right? So under one company code, if you are having company code in India, for example, in India you may have different plants. Okay, under each and every plant you will have multiple storage locations, warehouses, shipping points. So for India, you might have different purchase organizations and purchase groups. So, and also coming to the sales process, under company code, you may have different sales organizations. Sales organizations might be located in different places across India, like plants. Okay, in each and every sales organization, there might be different distribution channels. Okay, under one distribution channel, you might have different sales offices or divisions. So the SAP system itself is configured in such a way that you can maintain your entire organization structure like this. Okay, which can help the organizations to generate the reports properly, or accurately, okay, and legal compliance. So this is all about SAP organization structure. So this is at different modules, whatever we have seen just now. So coming to the data types, in SAP, as you know already, we have configuration data, master data, transactional data. So configuration data is nothing but the development data, right? And master data. So before posting any transaction to any any supplier or customer or material or bank or production, some materials or some warehouse related stocks, first we should have, okay, we should have master data. Say for example, if you want to make transactions like receiving the money or sending the money to some other person, right? First you need to have bank details with you. You should have bank, and you should have the bank details of other person as well, right? So you need to maintain the respective bank details in your system, right? What is the bank name, and what is the IFSC code or other technical or legal details of that bank, so which is one time maintenance, against which by adding that bank account you can start making the transactions like debiting and crediting the amounts, right? So that is transactional data. So to post any transactional data, first you should have master data as a reference. Okay, so if you take an example of material, okay, if you want to procure any material from any supplier, or if you want to sell any material to any customer, first that particular material should be created as a master data, where you maintain the details like what is the material ID and material description, and what is the dimension of that particular material, what is the average price of that material. If you place an order for that particular material, what would be the average expected delivery date for that material, how much space that material can occupy in your warehouse, right? So all those details are maintained as the master data. Whenever you place an order to your supplier, then you can just use this material number, and you can start procuring the material or selling the material, so that you will have the centralized data for that material, that you can understand what is the material I procured, and what is the material I sold to the customers, and what is the incoming and outgoing raw materials or finished goods and all, right? One second. So like this, you can just give me 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, so to generate the reports properly, the structure is created like master data and then transactional data. Yeah, this is all about SAP. I don't need to explain much about SAP. Yeah. So yeah, then we'll try to understand the manufacturing industry, how the manufacturing industry works and all. So can anyone explain me what this diagram is trying to explain us?
This diagram is trying to explain the end-to-end requirement coming from the customer, like make to stock. Okay, make to stock process, which how it will flow, how it will go for when the MRP run, demand generation, plan order created, production order, procurement, all entire end-to-end flow from starting from sales to dispatch activities.
Yes, that is summary of the story you explained. Yes, you're right. But generally, in for every organization, right, as part of their year starting, right? So after closing their books of accounts, and whenever they start their business freshly from the next year onwards, right? So they perform some meetings, they conduct some meetings, and they get the data. Management gets the data from various departments, from various personnel like CSP, say Chief Sales Officer, Procurement Officer, Finance or Chief Financial Officer, or different high level management, and they get the data to assess their profitability analysis, to perform their profitability analysis. So what are the sales which we made during the last few years, 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, and what would be our target for the next year, right? So if you already made around $10 million worth of revenue, for example, okay, If you want to increase your revenue, okay, by 100%, which is $20 million revenue in the next year, for example, right? So how many number of units to be sold to achieve that goal, right? Based on that, they make sales plan and they reach production plan. Say to produce to achieve this $20 million revenue, okay, how many number of units to be sold? Say for example 2 lakh units, for example. So to produce this 2 lakh, to sell this 2 lakh units, whether do we have that capacity to manufacture the 2 lakh units? If no, then you need to expand your machinery or plant, right? And you need to expand your skill set or resources as well, right? So you need to increase your production capacity, okay? Then only you can start, making the production. So, okay, there, you made a plan for production as well to improve your production capacity as well, okay? And the next question would come from production department is that you finalize that there are 2 lakh units to be sold, but there are multiple products in our portfolio. Which product needs to be manufactured and how many number of units to be manufactured for each and every product type? Let's take an example of automobile company called Toyota, for example. In Toyota, there are different cars available, ranging from Glanza or some urban cruiser to the Land Cruiser, right? So if you finalize that there are 2 lakh units to be manufactured, then how many number of units to be manufactured for urban cruiser, and how many number of units to be manufactured for Innova, Krista, or Fortuner, and then Welfare, and then Land Cruiser? So for each and every product, there should be a plan, right? That will come from your demand from the market. What was the earlier sales and how you are expecting in the current year, right? So that production needs to be disaggregated into the separate groups. Say, for example, you have decided to manufacture around 40,000 or 50,000 units of Innova Krista, since that Innova Krista is a highly selling product in your product portfolio, right? Now, in Innova Krishna as well, you will have different variants: basic, mid, high. So, the product or the raw material which you use in each and every variant would be different. The material you use in base variant will not be used in high-end variant. The material quality would be little higher than the basic variant. Then based on the segregation itself, the production should be started and the respective raw material needs to be procured, right? So to that extent, the product needs to be disaggregated. Okay, as you mentioned, this is called make to stock concept. You plan it and you manufacture it, and you arrive that there are 2 lakh units to be manufactured, and how these 2 lakh units to be manufactured on a phased manner, like how many units to be manufactured by half yearly and quarterly and monthly and weekly and daily. Based on that plan itself, you manufacture and store it in your goods. So this is called as independent requirement. Okay, so whatever you make plan as part of your make to stock, then that requirement is called as an independent requirement. Whenever the independent requirement comes into the picture based on your plan, that will trigger the MRP, which is material requirement planning. So this material requirement planning performs the plan that to manufacture a finished good, to manufacture one finished good, which is one car, there will be a pre-configured system in your organization, right? So say for example, to manufacture a car, how many number of raw materials are required? So how much quantity the fiber is required, how much quantity the plastic is required, how much quantity the steel is required, leather is required. So the composition is already predefined, right? So based on that, it matches with your inventory data, and it performs the calculation that you as part of this independent requirement, if you have to manufacture some 1,000 cars, so how many number of raw materials are required, which material is required, how much, right? So whether you have that material with you in your warehouse or not, if that material is not available in your warehouse, then you will raise the request, or this can also be automated. That is what I mentioned, right? So this, based on this planning, the request will be generated and sent it to this procurement department. So before coming here, there is one more concept called demand requirement. What is this demand requirement? As we understand that independent requirement is as part of our plan, as part of your make to stock, you just get this as part of your plan, whatever the requirement you have, that is called as independent requirement. Whenever you trigger this independent requirement, say for example, daily if you want to manufacture 1,000 units of cars, daily this independent requirement triggers. Okay, based on this it will plan. Whereas when it comes to demand requirements, say for example, as we have seen that, as I have explained just now, that there is a requirement of 40,000 units in an year for Innova Crista, for example. Okay, as part of demand requirements, some logistics company or transportation company came to Toyota and asked them that, I need around 40,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 Innova Cristas, which is not part of your plan. That suddenly comes up from the market, or comes out of the demand from the market, right? So that is not your plan. So that means you have to handle the regular independent requirement as well as the demand requirement. Okay, so whether it is independent requirement or demand requirement, both will trigger MRP, material requirement planning, and both will, the MRP will perform the analysis and finalize the materials required for it. Okay. Then whenever the requirement comes, the MRP is triggered, and then the inventory data is matched with the required material. If the material is available in your warehouse, then fine, then you will utilize, and production order will be generated and production will be processed. All these things will happen. Whereas if the material is not available in your warehouse, then the request will be sent to the procurement department. So in the form of purchase requisition. Purchase requisition is an internal document created by your production department. Say for example, in this case, okay, production department raises purchase requisition and send it to the procurement department. Procurement department will consolidate all the requests come from different plants for that particular material and place the order to the supplier. Before placing an order to the supplier by the procurement department, they will search for the suppliers, whether you have the suppliers in your existing data, that whether that in your existing data, that supplier is whether you have the supplier who can supply the required materials for you or not. If the supplier is available in your master data, to whom you already made an agreement, then you can directly place an order to the supplier. Whereas if you don't have any supplier who can supply these goods, you need to go into the market and source the suppliers from the market by taking the data, by taking the required data from the suppliers, like quantity, the quality of that material and the price of that material. Request for quotation we raised, right? So price of that material and quality of that material, whether the supplier is meeting our organization's requirement or not, in terms of quality, in terms of expected delivery date, in terms of payment terms. So all these are met. Then you make a contract with your supplier. So once you make a contract and agreement with your supplier, then you start placing an order to your supplier. So which is called as a purchase order. Purchase order is a legal document between your supplier and the business. Okay, for whatever the materials the business requires, those materials will be placed an order to the respective supplier. Then the respective purchase order needs to be approved by the respective approvers in your organization. The concept is called as release of PO. So once the purchase order is approved, if it is rejected, then you make necessary changes. Your user will make necessary changes and send it again back to the approver. Approver will approve the purchase order, and the approved purchase order will be sent to the supplier. Supplier needs to confirm whether the supplier is able to deliver those goods or not as per the agreement, right? So say for example, you have agreed for 1 week. So supplier has agreed that once the purchase order is placed, the material can be delivered within 7 days. Okay, based on that itself, you plan your production and then you plan your procurement process. If the supplier is not able to deliver those goods within the agreed time, then if he rejects, then the procurement department needs to search for other supplier again, and they will send this purchase order to the other supplier who can deliver these goods on time. So once the supplier confirms, then we will receive the goods from the supplier. Once we receive the goods from the supplier, the quality department will inspect the goods. So how many of them are in the proper state, how many of them are in the rejected state. So then the payment, whenever we receive the goods, okay, we will receive the invoice as well from the supplier. So all these invoice related transactions are handled by accounts payable department in the organization. So once we receive the invoice from the supplier, accounts payable department needs to verify or perform three-way check. So what is the order we placed, and what is the actual quantity we received, out of which how many of them are in proper state, how many of them are defected and returned back to the supplier, and what is the invoice we received from the supplier. Say for example, if you place an order for 100 units and we have received 100 units, out of which 20 are defected, 80 are in proper state, and we have received invoice for 100 units from the supplier. Will you make the payment for 100 units? No, right? We will make payment for 80 units itself. For these 20 units, the credit memo should be issued to the supplier saying that, hey, out of the material you sent us, 20 are defected, and you have sent the invoice for 100, but I don't want, I won't make payment for 20 units. I will make payment for 80 units only. Okay. So based on that, if there is any discrepancy, the three-way check, as part of this three-way check, the discrepancy will be posted as an offsetting entry in your systems. Then the payment will be made against this approved accounting document. Okay. So all these activities are performed as part of this accounts payable. Now you got the goods. Okay, whatever in the proper state, those goods will be sent to the production department by raising the production order, and the production will be processed, and those will be stored in, that those finished goods will be stored in your warehouse. And whenever you get the sale order, against those sale order, these finished goods will be sent to the customer or delivered to the customer, and billing document will be generated, and invoice will be generated, and collection will be handled by accounts receivable department. All these customer related transactions, financial transactions, are handled by accounts receivable. So this is the entire manufacturing industry, how it works. So in this entire business, there are multiple processes involved, right? One is procurement, second one is production, third one is accounts payable, fourth one is accounts receivable. There are some hidden processes as well, right? There is the hire to retire process. Unless you understand how frequently you onboard or how fast you can onboard the resource, based on your production process will be dependent, right? So once you get the requirement for the resource, how fast you can onboard, or you can source the employee and onboard them into the business, right? So what is the retention rate of your employees? If it is low, why it is low? Why this much of frequently your employees are leaving your organization. So you need to mind that process as well to understand the employees retentions and a high to retire process. And there might be other processes like plant maintenance, for example. If you're not able to maintain your machinery properly, then machinery will be broken down, right? If that machine breakdown happens, it will take months to rectify the problem, right? We have seen a lot of instances where once the machinery is broken down, it would take around months together to rectify that issue. So to overcome that problem, so to avoid such kind of scenarios in your organization, you need to maintain your machinery properly. How frequently you are maintaining your machinery, how frequently you are raising your maintenance orders or refurbishment orders or some correction orders, correction notifications, maintenance notifications and all in your plant maintenance activities. So can we reduce that duration of notification creation for regular maintenance, or can we increase that if we can do that? So such kind of analysis will be performed using these process mining solutions. So the reason being, as I've explained earlier as well in the previous slides, one problem in your procurement process, which is late delivery in your procurement process, can impact your production process, which will increase your production, labor idle time, machinery idle time. It will increase your, direct or indirect cost, operations cost. And moreover, the direct impact would be, it would lead to customer dissatisfaction. Okay. So that is where process mining can help the organizations to streamline the entire business operations. Okay. So any questions so far?
Yeah, no question, Naren.
Yeah. So the reason being why I have shown you that slide is, that would give us clear, clarity that, how the entire organization works, right? So how the business processes work. So you might know, but I'm just summarizing or revising the concepts. Okay.
Yeah. Just we are refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine.
Go ahead, Naren. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So as part of all these business processes, okay, we will take an example of this procure to pay process as a case study. We will deep dive into this procure to pay process. Okay. So just give me 1 minute. I'll have some water and come back. Yeah. Okay. So as part of procure to pay process, okay, I'm back. Yeah. This is an end-to-end process, right? So in this end-to-end process, as I've explained just now, there will be a requirement. Whenever the requirement arises in the organization, then the procurement department gets started, right? Unless there is a requirement, then no need of procurement, right? So whenever the requirement arises, then the purchase, purchase requisition will be generated by the respective department, whoever needs the materials. And if there is any approval process for requisitions to be approved, then it will follow the approvals and the send it to the supplier. Supplier will, procurement department will look into that order and create that purchase order to the supplier, and we'll receive the goods from the supplier. And along with the goods, we'll receive the invoice in the form of paper, XML, PDF, or some email, or some using BIM tools and all, right? Then that invoice needs to be transformed and posted into your SAP system. Okay, and the three-way check needs to be performed. Approval needs to be made to the invoice in terms of if there is any discrepancy by posting the respective offsetting entries for the respective original uh, amount of invoice, the payment will be made. Okay, so whatever I've explained orally so far in each and every phase, this is the description. As I mentioned, purchase requisition would be the first activity in your procure to pay process. The purchase requisition is an internal document created whenever the goods or services are required. Okay, so to post this purchase requisition in SAP, there is a transaction code called ME51N. So in this ME51N transaction code, we will enter the details of required materials. What is the material required? Okay, how much quantity required, for which purchase organization or for which company code the respective materials are required. All these details need to be maintained by the production department and send it to the procurement department. Okay, so whenever the purchase requisition is created and received by procurement department, then procurement department will source the supplier either from the existing list or from the market. If you already have the supplier in your master data, where you already made an agreement with the respective supplier, you will directly create a purchase order to the supplier for whatever the requirement you have. If you don't have the suppliers who can supply the required materials, then you will get the quotations. Okay, you will request for the quotation to the respective supplier, and whenever you get the details of the materials from the suppliers, like for that particular material, what is the price, okay, what would be the terms and conditions to be followed, all those details will be received from the supplier. So those details will be maintained in SAP using transaction code called ME41. Why does the business maintain all these details? For the future reference. If you source or if you search for 10 suppliers, out of all those 10 suppliers, only a few suppliers can help you. Okay, suppliers can meet your requirements. That means 2 or 3. What about 7 or 8? So you will maintain all this data. You will use this data for your future reference. In the future, suddenly if suddenly if a person, okay, who can the supplier might not be able to supply the goods suddenly, okay, then you will go to this list and get the next best supplier, right? Then you will reach out to the respective supplier. So you don't need to start your process from the scratch. So that is why these RFQ details are maintained. Then for whatever the supplier you finalized, by making a lot of R&D and by going through a lot of details with the supplier who can meet your requirements in terms of quality, price, delivery date, and payment terms and all, with those suppliers you will come to a contract. You will come into an agreement, okay, which is a legal binding contract between your supplier and you. For the respective material, you agreed for the respective prices and for the respective terms and conditions for the stipulated period of time. So these contract details are maintained in SAP using transaction code called ME31K. Okay. Then once you finalize and come into an agreement with your supplier, then you will start making the transactions with the respective supplier. So once you finalize the supplier, you will raise or you will create a purchase order for whatever the material required for you. So this is the legal document between the business and supplier, where you place an where you place an order for material to the respective supplier. So in this purchase order, you specify what is the material required, how much quantity required, Okay, what is the supplier name, to whom you are sending this supplier, on which date the respective purchase order is created, and so all these details, whatever you agreed with your supplier, those details are maintained. Based on that agreement itself, the purchase order is created, and these details are the purchase order is created using transaction code called ME21N in SAP. Okay, so once the purchase order is created and approved by the respective approver, then this purchase order will be sent to the supplier, and you receive the confirmation, and you'll receive the goods from your supplier. So whenever you receive the goods from the supplier in your organization, the person who takes care of or who posts these transactions in your system, okay, so using MyGo transaction code, the goods receipt related data is posted in your SAP. Okay, so in MyGo, you enter the details like with reference to which purchase order the materials have been received from the supplier. Okay, that purchase order number, and then how much quantity you received from the supplier, and then out of all these materials, how many of them are defected, how many of them are in the proper state, is it matching with your purchase order, is there any discrepancy? So all these details are maintained in your MyGo transaction code. Then if it is a good, then you certify that we have received goods using transaction code MyGo. If you receive any service from your supplier, then that service entry should be certified, right? So that means, you have received the service. Say for example, you have received, you create or you have raised a purchase order to your service provider, IT service provider, to provide some services to your SAP or something else. Once that purpose is fulfilled, the purchase order, the service entry should be certified. Then only the payment will be made, right? So that service entry can be certified using transaction code called ML81N in SAP. Okay, whether it is goods or service, once we receive goods or service, then we'll receive the invoice from the supplier, for which, for how many number of goods we have received, and what is the cost or value of those goods or services. So whenever you receive the invoice from the supplier through paper or some XML or through email or through Vim tools, those supplier invoice related details, which is supplier invoice, not your internal approved document. This is supplier invoice. Whatever supplier maintains in their invoice, those details are maintained using transaction code called MIRO or MIR7 to record all your supplier invoice transactions. Then you perform your three-way check. Accounts payable department performs the three-way check. Okay, and it will be sent for approval. In SAP there is a concept called parking concept, so which is for approvals of your supplier invoice. So there you perform your three-way check by matching your purchase order, goods receipt document, and then supplier invoice. If there are any discrepancy, there will be an offsetting entry posted during this three-way check. If there is no discrepancy, the actual amount will be posted as per the supplier invoice, which is approved accounting document, against which the payment will be made. So once the accounting document is approved, after performing all these checks, the payment will be made against those accounting documents. In SAP, there is a standard functionality called automatic payment program. So in this, using Signavio, okay, we need to understand the problems in each and every step. Okay, how much time it is taking after creating purchase order to create the purchase order, purchase requisition to purchase order, and then once the purchase order is created, how much time it is taking to receive the goods from the supplier, whether the goods receipt is matching with your expected delivery date or not. Okay, once the goods are received, then how much time it is taking to receive the invoice, and how much time it is taking to make the payments. So is the payment making on time or not, as per your organizational structure, as per your terms with your supplier. So if something goes wrong in this process, okay, then what needs to be done to improve this process, right? So whether, how many of the invoices have been created without PO, which is maverick buying. Without having any PO, how do you receive the invoice? There might be some instances where you don't need purchase order process and all. Like if you procure some stationary material, you don't need purchase order and all. You just procure and receive the invoice from the supplier. Whereas if that happens for your raw material, if you are procuring raw materials from your supplier very frequently, but you don't have purchase order for them, okay, you are just receiving the invoice directly. That means you are directly reaching out to your supplier, and supplier is sending the materials to you, where your business is not following the robust procurement process. If you're not following, then why do you need to have procurement department in place in your organization? They make the negotiation with their skills, and they get the materials for the less price, and they have the credit period, right? They agreed for the credit period with your supplier. Then if you're not following that robust process, you lose all these benefits. You will get the material for high prices. You will not get the credit period, where your cash flow will be impacted, right? So, and quality might be different, right? So why do you need to why you're not following the robust process for your procurement? So all this analysis should be performed in our process mining. Okay. And what is the automation rate of invoice receipt and invoice creation? And then what is the automation rate of payment? If there is an automation, if there is a standard functionality for your automatic payment program, where you just have to configure and follow the process. Once you create the invoice, and you need to configure your system in such a way that the system will automatically pick those invoices which are due for payment on that respective date. But you're not following that. You're making payments manually. So why you're not utilizing the SAP standard functionalities? So to perform this detailed analysis itself, we need process mining. Okay. Any questions so far?
Oh, it's pretty much clear since it's known process for us.
Yeah. Yes, I'm just being this first session, I'm just revising all our
Yeah,
skills.
yeah, it's good for
Putting in, yeah,
refreshing.
yeah, I'm putting in a structured way. So we
Sure.
might know the processes and the data and all, but how the business thinks, and how the consultant thinks, how the process mining thinks, how the management thinks. If we can keep this in a structured way, this would give us the proper clarity. So that is why I've taken this procurement process as an example.
Yeah, Naveen, thank you, Naveen. Naveen, as we understood, this end-to-end process is exactly fine, but right, as also you mentioned that there are certain contracts which you already made with the vendor. For example, think that I need 5 required materials to do the production. Okay, out of 5, 3 are I know the source. I have the contract with them, and the material will be delivered in just in time, or it will be delivered in the delivery date as per agreed with the vendor terms and conditions. But other 2 materials, I don't have a source where I may go into market, I may search, and it may take like when I go with the contract, it may take me 5 days. When I go with the source of other 2 material, it may take 10 days. Okay, this delay of this procurement is how it will shown in the KPI.
Say, for example, KPI means, see, first we'll have the overall KPI. You can create a overall KPI like, what is the on-time delivery rate or late delivery rate. Okay. Second, you can drill down. Say, for example, you identified that there is 40% late deliveries happening in your process. Then you drill down your analysis to the next level, that who are the most our highest suppliers for you. Out of all these top 10 suppliers or top 20 suppliers, okay, for which suppliers you are having this issue? Because majority number of the suppliers you are getting from these 10 suppliers or 20 suppliers. So out of these 20 suppliers or 10 suppliers, for which suppliers you are facing this issue? You are not able to receive the goods on time. Okay, if quantity is very high with them, but you are not able to receive the goods on time, from these suppliers. Okay, you will drill down your analysis to the next level, where for which suppliers it is happening. Then you can reach out to the respective supplier and you can negotiate with the supplier that I'm not able to receive the goods on time as per our agreement. So can you expedite the delivery process from your end? Okay, so like this, it can help the organizations to identify for which suppliers it is happening. Even after negotiating with the supplier, if you are facing that issue still, okay, then you can take the decision whether to leave that supplier or not. So like this, you perform your analysis. Or if you deep dive, for example, so if you even drill down your analysis to the next level, that is it is it is this late delivery is happening from this supplier only for a few company codes or from few plants, okay, or for the all plants and all company codes. If it is happening for a few plants or company codes, okay, or one or two plants, then the problem with your plant, not with supplier, right? So then only you can reach out to your supplier. So if your internal organization can, if you can rectify your internal organization structure to improve the, the purchase order process or procurement process, that would help you to improve that KPI. So based on your analysis, you can, create your KPI and you can take the necessary actions.
Okay, Naveen. Yeah.
Hope that answers your question, right?
So that answers my question for a limited level. But what I mean to tell you is that as a procurement lead or procurement manager or procurement director, I have seen there is a variation of 4% of the material which is 100%, and 3% of material which are not which are making my KPI spoiled. Okay, because of the 3% where I don't have a valid source, every time I need to go and check in the market. So this analysis, because of that, my KPIs are hitting. Because of my out of 5 material, 3 materials are meeting 100% KPI for me as per my process. But only for these 2 materials which I'm going for a source are hitting my KPIs. Okay.
Okay.
So that what I this you can be measured, right? This can be measured in Signal.
Yeah. So see, you can identify that variation, but see, if you don't have source, that means for every time for these 2 materials, you are going, correct me if I'm wrong, or my understanding is wrong. You're going into the market and you're sourcing the supplier manually instead of having this automated process. Like, nowadays Ariba came into picture to automate all the sourcing and suggestions to us in terms of picking the respective supplier. Sometimes if you can configure, the purchase order will be generated automatically based on your requirement. So if there is no source, that means that might be due to the respective materials unavailability in the market. That material might be available with the very less suppliers, okay, or a few suppliers can only be able to supply those materials. If that material is available with the fixed suppliers, then no problem, you won't get that problem as you mentioned. But the problem itself arises due to this unavailability of that material, and that material is available with very few suppliers itself. That is why that fluctuations might happen.
Yeah, so that I just wanted to know is that we can drill down at that level, right? Because of so that management can take decision and they can go for fixing a contract for these 2 materials with the vendors.
Exactly. So that is where I explained that entire story, what I've explained, right? So as part of that, this variation might come. You can create KPIs like that and drill down your analysis. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah. So let's discuss tomorrow. Okay. The time is over, I guess. So let's connect tomorrow and let's discuss further about other things.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. It was a very good
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'll share the material as well. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. Yeah,
Thank you. Bye. Have a great
thank you.
weekend.